good start for LA. And on the other side is going to be their opponents, the San Francisco Shock. Oh, Baby Bay on fire. Soon on the attack already. Oh, taken out by Dante, though. That's what I like to see, man. Oh, Snipe Fever. An incredible run from LA Valiant. What do you say about that?
All right, and the Seoul Dynasty just took that last match to the Dallas Fuel 3-1. But can we give it up for the Dallas Fuel for almost pushing that game to 5 maps? That was awesome. That was awesome. Just Munchkin. Munchkin is a spice lord. He's just sprinkling those pulse bombs on the team. You know, definitely an MVP caliber performance from him. All right, up next is NorCal versus SoCal. We got the San Francisco Shock going up against the LA Valiant. It's getting ready to get very loud in here. So let's go ahead, send it over to the desk. Puckett, take it away, man.
Thank you so much, Malik. Shout out to the crowd. How you guys doing out there? Yes, this is match number 2 of the day, and we got the whole crew with us once again. It's Bren, it's Crumbs, and Zoe is back at it. We now see the Battle of California. It's all lining up here, Bren.
It is indeed, yeah. This is going to be a massive match for both these teams. Valiant, they're in a bit of a slump recently. They need a win under their belts, and Shock, they've got a lot to prove this matchup as well, that they can compete with some of the best teams.
Now, this is just match 2 of the day. We should remind everybody at home, we're going to be bringing you 3, and as you take a look at it, yes, it was Seoul over the Fuel. The Fuel's 4-match win streak has come to an end. A little bit later, it's the Gladiators versus the Dragons. For now, though, we got to get right into it as we bring our team from LA to the stage. Let's hear it for the Valiant. The Valiant entered today's match with a 1-1 record in stage 2. It's a bit of a slow start, and after getting swept by Seoul, they barely edged out the Dragons in a surprising series on Saturday.
Yeah, in general, this is a team that's having a rough start in stage 2, but they've got the talent on the roster to come back from this. And I know that they're more than capable of it because we've seen it in stage 1. This is a team that was a contender for that playoff spot. They just missed out on it by a few essential close maps between other teams. But now here, stage 2, this is their opportunity to turn it around, get a win against San Francisco.
Some love for Soon, no surprise.
Absolutely not. And it still sounds like booing to me every single time it happens. But it's okay, they actually say Soon. Now, I think one of the main reasons for the shaky start in stage 2 for this very team might be their new coach, Moon, who is currently coaching them remotely from Korea.
Wow.
But they have a lot of VOD reviews and one-on-one sessions together, and he's focusing a lot on strategic diversity. So he's kind of forcing those players out of their comfort zone, and I do think we have seen a lot of different sides from the Valiant.
I mean, sure, we can say this team is struggling and whatnot, but they're 8-4. They are tied with the London Spitfire, the stage 1 champions, so I still think these guys are just one of the top teams in the league.
I like the look here from the Valiant. That is their starting 6, but now it's time to find out who will they be playing across the stage. Let's hear it for the boys from the Bay. It's the San Francisco Shock. Our Shock fans are back in the venue. The Shock flags waving here as the team enters the stage. But it was a rough start here, an 0-2 start to stage number 2. The one good side of things, you managed to take a game away against Seoul, and it was a pretty solid showing from the whole squad.
It really was, and they are ready for this very game. They tweeted it's time for our long-awaited rematch against the LA Valiant. The last time those teams faced off against each other was actually the first match of stage 1, week 1, day 1. Valiant walked away with a 4-0 victory, and Shock definitely doesn't want to let them get away with this again.
I mean, if they're looking for revenge against everybody that's got a 4-0 over them, they've got a long hit list after them. But I think this team is, as you mentioned, coming into fruition, especially Dante. We always wanted to see this guy step up as a tracer. And coming from last game, we know that Munchkin was able to do. This guy brought it to him.
I like that.
Yeah, in general, I gotta agree with you there, Crumbs. In terms, Dante is my guy to watch. This dude right here, because he's been so pivotal in the fact that a lot of Shock's victories over these teams has been off the back of Dante's tracer, turning up, getting those clutch post-bomb kills. Very excited to see what he can do in this game.
Dante versus Soon, the tracer battle to look out for today. But let's talk a little bit about how the teams are feeling coming into the match. You have to think Shock feeling a little bit of pressure. They lost the first matchup against the Valiant. Talking to the coaches today, how's the team feeling?
You know, I talked to them about their focus generally for not just this map, but generally just this week. And they said that they're currently working a lot with Sleepy, as they felt that he needs to
Wake up.
wake up.
I mean,
Wow.
he goes to the desk with a
Wow.
blanket, doesn't
Yes.
he? That's
No.
what- He's always taking naps. Have you seen him? Walks up with a blanket. He's ready to have a quick little 1-minute nap. You know.
Yes,
get
okay.
really
It was all
rehydrated,
about Sleepy's
re-energized.
napping time, but also about his movement in the backline with his teammates. They said that they need some improvement on that regard. Also with Dak, they work on the same thing with him, and they said generally they just want to have a more tight and cohesive team rotation in those backlines.
Need the
That's what
backline.
we hopefully going to see today.
We saw the supports getting picked over and over again, regardless of how much damage Dante was doing. His supports weren't staying up. The tanks are eventually going to fall. Let's talk about San Fran, though, Crumbs, because you were high on this squad coming in, and you said, based off the footage against Seoul, this team shouldn't be overlooked in the matchup against the Valiant.
Yeah, I still see them as this kind of team that can always take games when you least expect it. You really have to take them very seriously because the team is trying to get better. As Zoe was mentioning, they're improving their backline play, recognizing that right now a lot of teams are looking out for the Zenyatas, gunning down the support as the first order. So this team, I think, with the fact that they are recognizing that, is at least showing good improvement and knowing what to expect from their opposition.
I think it's all well and good as well that we're picking up Shock so much, and I do agree that they played a very good game in that first map against Seoul. A lot of this off the back of Sleepy getting these picks onto Ryu Jae-hong, but you cannot discredit the fact that Valiant are coming into this with one of the best tanks in the league, one of the best DPS as well in the form of Soon, but Fate, this main tank player, right? That's the guy I'm going to be paying attention to, because the statistics that this man puts out on a regular basis, there's something else entirely, right? He's one of the best tanks in the league. There's no comparing it with really these other teams, and he is a big reason as to why Valiant are seeing so much success. I mean, just look at those rankings. He's first in absolutely everything. I mean, the guy is an absolute nutter when it comes to the Winston.
Fade on Winston, always a joy to watch. Look at those numbers, and it's time to find out how is he and the rest of this Valiant squad going to fare. The California squads face off right now, and bringing you the X, all the action. It's Uber with Mr. X.
Well, I could bring in the axe as well, but I don't know if that's really appropriate this particular viewership. I could just use a chair, really. I could just, bring it out towards the desk with you guys. That kind of does the job as well, but I need this to keep me standing. If I don't have one of these, I'll be falling over. Hello, I'm Mitch Leslie here with Matt Morello. Of course,
need a
we're going to
box
jump
to
into
keep
this
me
one.
standing.
You got a box? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the big one. I wanted to give you this one.
No.
This is
no
the one I wanted to
big
give
box.
back.
I don't know
What do you
what's
reckon?
happening.
You could use that one.
We do have the Valiant versus Shot.
That's right, of course.
Coming up next.
Bit of North
Yeah.
versus South, guys. Let's jump into it now. A lot of people excited for this one, us included. A good way for us to continue to track the progression and trajectory of the Shock as time goes on. Now, we want to see them improve, but I know there are a lot of Los Angeles Valiant fans in the arena. Isn't that right?
They're there.
Yep. Good.
Well, they're kind of
Pretty
questioning.
quiet.
They're kind of questioning. We're seeing Kariv again as DPS today. I know they're playing all three of their supports. Well, I don't even know if we can consider Kariv support at this moment in time, because it seems like he's fully making the move over to a DPS player here.
Yeah, something's happening. People are getting turfed. I want to know what's going on inside the LA Valiant compound. They're making changes to their lineup. Now, we saw them obviously last week, the Valiant, and had a decent week, all right? It was okay. We saw Kariv play DPS, so this is not new for us. We are still sort of trying to get an understanding of how it's supposed to work out. Quite often, Kariv is playing that hit scan role, but we did see him play a bit of Genji even previously.
And look, I thought he played very well last week on the DPS role. I don't think he played bad to the point where you're like, okay, we need to make a change or let's try something different. And you know what he can do on the Widowmaker, which we've seen in the past. It's just, I think a lot of fans, right, you get really comfortable seeing Agilities in the lineup, what he can do as Genji or Pharah, and then Silk Thread was playing quite well for this team. So I think a lot of people just kind of question, like, well, why are you changing it if it's...
Yeah, it's like
they're gonna, look at this in the spawn. So
okay, that's banter.
Oh, well, why are they marking out their own?
Yeah, that's. Oh wait, what is it?
All right.
Well, I don't really
There you
understand. Is that are we going back to
it?
Man, dude,
Yeah.
that's full on. That's like about as close as we're gonna get to like walkouts and like guys like squaring up like it's an MMA fight, right? Like getting in each other's face. That's about as good as it gets here. We like a bit of banter.
Not as creative as the Mayhem coming in as their entrances, but it's
But
close
more
enough there.
intimidating, I feel. You know
Well,
what I mean?
not really, because San Francisco has no idea it's actually happening. So it'll be the shotgun defense here. The Dak and Sleepy playing the supports as usual. Dante will be playing Sombra here. So just to remind you, this is not the live patch, right, where Sombra works a little bit different.
Yeah.
Playing on the previous Mercy patch.
She's still getting ultimate charge from hacked health packs, the most important part. Kariv, though, already pressing forward. Nomi took a huge hit from Kareev as he tried to approach, and now Novi's just clinging on to life, and the defense matrix won't be sufficient to keep him standing. Nevix may well be the next target, but also Dante and the rest of the Shock are in on the left-hand side.
Well, because Envy puts so much pressure in by that mega health pack, it forces Baby Bay and both supports for the Shock to back all the way up to where Nomi is just kind of standing there over by the point. All he has is that health pack, the little mini that Sombra has hacked to give him HP, and I know we're not going to last much longer than that.
Okay, that was pretty fast. 7 minutes and 13 seconds is not normally as high a number as we see up on that left-hand side. That's how much the Valiant now have left in their time bank to get the map finished, and then perhaps beyond if it would be required.
They watched the previous match where Monty was talking about the old performance. He's like, that's the best I've ever seen. They're like, watch this.
I mean, it's getting better.
They're just running on through.
It's getting better. We see the pulse bomb there towards Nevix, and soon finds another one. He gets, of course, the finish on the D-Sitter Diva, and now Dak looking like a little more than a snack for Soon to gobble on up, but he's going to be waiting for the rest of the Valiant to come on in here.
Okay, so Dante got a hack onto Envy there, which forced him to obviously not have defense matrix, gets him out of his mech, which buys the Shock some time there on defense. It allows them to get some members up, so they should be able to hold.
Okay, so that wasn't bad. We actually heard the sound of the EMP. It occurred over in the lobby, or like the main area. So half of the Valiant actually got caught up in that EMP. Weren't able to use their abilities as a result, of course, and actually forced them to disengage. So it effectively splits the Valiant in two halves. We were on board, of course, with Soon, who really didn't have much backup there and had to drop off the edge because it was done.
Kareev will switch off of Widowmaker here for the second point. Say attack point B is going to go over to 76. You're going to try and get set up on this high ground. Maybe they can bait Dante in and get a little bit too aggressive, get an early pick on the Sombra.
Fade is close to that primer rage. We've seen his stats. He's got some of the best in the league, if not the best. It looks like he might want to pad them up a little bit more. He almost feigns like he's going to jump onto the high ground, then he drops into the back corner, puts a bubble down, and gives the Valiant a place to sort of start from there as well to try and chase him up. That's forced the Transcendence now, though, from Sleepy up on the backside, and with Envy being removed, might be a struggle here for the Valiant, and yeah, the Shock will clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, Fate jumps onto the point. It still forces the supports down from that high ground, and what it allows is Soon to kind of dart in there as Tracer and be able to put some damage down onto Sleepy. They force out the Transcendence, so now they have an advantage in terms of support ults, but Dante on the other side does have that EMP. Could erase everything that Verbo's sound barrier gives the Valiant.
And their hard drives, of course, don't forget that. Yeah, I like the Winston bubble as like a little habitat for a Tracer, you know, when she wants to have a spot to like blink two on the point or maybe wait for a cooldown. Oh, he was thinking about it. Dante wanted a bit of that EMP action, but Unko was able to just stave him off with a couple of orbs of destruction thrown in his direction, and now it looks like the Valiant are transitioning to the low ground, but this time they've been struck, and Unko had all of his shields torn from him with the use of that EMP and Sombra, and now again the Valiant are in full-scale retreat. They won't be allowed to get out alive, though. Kareev getting buffeted around, he's down.
Yeah, you know, that EMP actually only connects with two players of the Valiant. It only connects with Verbo and Envy, but it's two huge players, right? You know, Verbo not able to use that sound barrier to keep everybody else alive, and then Envy not able to use that defense matrix to also help keep players alive. So although it wasn't like an insanely huge EMP, they still connect with two main players there, and you see how fast he's building it back up, already back at 65%.
Yeah, so the window for a non-EMP fight is so small, but they may have found it right now. Unko cleans up Baby Bay. He's had a very rough match so far, Matt. Definitely falling foul of a lot of these shots coming out from the Zenyatta. Now Nevix realizes he's used most of his defense matrix and needs to back away, but that's going to be the EMP using this fight, but it may not matter. Kareev now comes in with a tactical visor. Self-destruct, only finds Soon, but the rest of the Valiant are up on the point. Sleepy trying to use the high ground, take the high road, but it may not keep him alive. Baby Bay's in the thick of it though, finds Unko, does manage to recall himself out, but Envy's there to protect. He takes Nevix down. We can see the Baby Bay has to back out with just a slither of health left, and it's Dante on the point. The Shock scrapping to get back in position.
Yeah, but the Shock don't let up a tick here. It's going to be the sound barrier now used by the Valiant. They're going to try and come on in. And Envy's actually spotted Nomi off to the side. They're able to pick up this kill. Now they're going to work their way back towards that point.
Oh, Soon looking for a pulse bomb, but is shut down by Baby Bay. Baby Bay's second kill for the fight, and he's looking for more. Kareev has time to spray somehow. Oh, he gets cleaned up. Hit me, Baby Bay, one more time. Kareev more than happy to deliver. Cheeky.
You know, they switch Unko off of Zen over to Ana here, try and get some healing from range, right? I mean, even if he gets hit with the EMP, he can still heal, you know, the rest of his teammates from a distance. But, you know, with all the barriers in the game, you see Nomi just come up right there with his Winston bubble. It's very hard to get any healing. There's the EMP that comes on through. He's not connected by it, Unko, so he does have this biotic grenade to use.
He was one of the few people that weren't, though. Even Kareev was affected, but he comes back in, has yet another tactical visor. This could be the opening once again they're looking for. Immediately, Transcendence drawn out of Sleepy. That's expired now, and Unko's playing very far forward. but it's almost as if he realized that in the moment. And the Valiant are trying to take this slow. Go for a re-engagement when they have a good opportunity. It looks like Fate has decided that the time is now. Close to the nano boost Unco is, and he'll definitely be hoping to give a little bit of longevity over to his main tank, but Fate's already down. Care of Nomi, who's just found his second.
Well, I mean, Fate dies there. He tries to go on in and make a play because Nomi's actually hit with the biotic grenade, but there's no follow-up there from Soon. Soon was coming off of respawn, so didn't have his tracer there to go in and make a play. And I do like the switch off of the Zenyatta as well, because you have to play really close to Zenyatta and the Lucio for both of their support ultimates to really pay off, right? And with obviously a Sombra on the other side who's farming EMP very fast, you can't exactly play. You have to split. So.
And you're vulnerable as a Zen to EMP anyway. And Fate is often going in on his own, dropping a barrier, and the rest of the Valiant are chasing him up. This could be another one here, Matt. You better believe it. Yeah, that's going to be nasty for the Valiant. Not much they can really do here. All their abilities. I mean, D.Va just turns into a pork chop when she's EMP'd, Matt. There's really nothing she can do except walk around and spit a couple bullets at low velocity. Dunta, once again, shuts the Valiant down. There has been no answer to this Sombra, and Dunta is asking for more.
So he's been building up his ultimate every 47 seconds. That's pretty fast.
Looks like every fight.
Literally every fight he has an EMP, and now with the switch off of Zenyatta, the bad part is now you only have one sustain ult for the Valiant. That's that sound barrier, which is getting completely crushed by an EMP.
Dunta getting so much free damage, another 12 to 15% just from that translocator use, that foray into the backline of the Valiant to get himself some free damage. He's down though, Pulse Bomb, he's missing, Matt. Is this the opening they were looking for? Nomi's gone for the Primal Rage to try and smooth out this little issue, but it may not be enough. Sound barrier delivered by Dak here, but he can't get away. He's trying to walk escape, but Kareem catches in there with a tactical visor. There is still a D.Va in the play for the shock here. Nevix mitigating a lot of the hit scan damage from Kareem, and now that's going to be Sleepy's Transcendent. That's the EMP, a bit late, but it's there.
Yeah, but if Verbo doesn't get hit by that EMP, he's able to land a big sound barrier. Connects on 4 members here for the Valiant. Kareem just trying to land some shots. They did lose Fate, so you lose that main tank. You have Envy with a self-destruct, so you kind of get 2 cracks out of here with your D.Va, but it looks like the Valiant going to back out a little bit. It's going to be the self-destruct that gets launched in here by Envy. He's able to get Dante.
Again, Dunta removed. That's more time that he can't spend charging up his EMP, and it looks like another opportunity has presented itself for the Valiant to try and come forward now. Nomi into the mix, trying to pressure Kareem back, but he's got a biotic field to stand on. Plenty of healing for him, and a tactical visor. This guy has fallen like rain. He's had so many opportunities to use his ultimate, and now there's no one to protect the shock. Oh, it's carnage! Kareem and Soon combining for a huge amount of kills. Beautiful bio-nade delivered by Unco to keep Kareem up on his feet as he faced the scrutiny of Nevix. And now the Valiant have some time on the point. They've gotten 2 ticks in the fight. Nomi gets burst down awfully fast. Nano boost used on towards Fate. And the very tanky Winston doing an extra bit of damage. Just what the Doctor ordered now. Pushing forward. Still one player on the point. And Dunta just trying to keep it stored out. And that is going to be Sleepy in there with a Transcendence to keep things going.
EMP here from Dante. He's able to connect with a few members for the Los Angeles Valiant. Back and back. You see Nevix switches over to the Doomfist here, just trying to contest. The Valiant gonna land a big sound barrier though.
That sound barrier in. Nomi put to sleep, but he's woken up pretty much straight away. Gets bio-naded, and now it's going to be pressure onto the point for Soon. He found Sleepy. Dak there, very low on HP, trying to wall climb his way to safety, but Envy's going to be looking for him in a moment. Dak gets away, but he can't be on the point. Kareem, yet another tactical visor. How does he get so many of these? It's unbelievable. Now the Doomfist coming onto the point. Nevix drops. Verbo's found him. Surely we're close to a capture here. We're in overtime, though. The Valiant can't afford to make any mistakes. They've done it! Who would have thought this would be so close? And the shock waking up, giving a bit of a Bay Area beatdown, forcing the Valiant to use every last second in their time bank to finish the map.
I mean, look, Dante was huge on Sombra for the San Francisco Shock. I thought Unco, when he switched over to the Ana, he was just providing so much healing for this Valiant lineup. It's great to see like a lot of the supports, most of the supports played here in stage 2, and you see, Unco, one of the best Anas we have. It was actually something I caught on the mini-map. Fate was actually diving in on Sleepy, and Dak had actually booped him off the side in the back and forced that Primal Rage use to get all the way back on the map.
Jump back.
Yeah, Dak got Sleepy all the way over to buy that Mega Health pack, but at that time, Kareem had used his Tac Visor, so not the best spot to bring him right over to Kareem, but it was just a little nice play that happened from Dak there.
It's a good time for the support players on both of these rosters, Matt. Verbo and Unco get to play their heroes of choice. We see that famed Unco Ana come out of the mix there in some incredible uses of those bionic grenades. And of course, Dak, Lucio aficionado, #1, and Sleepy needs to be up on that Zenyatta here. Incredible support play across the map, and this is a good result for the Shock. Finishing the map here obviously is imperative. But if they do it with any time left in the bank, then stuff's starting to get real.
It's interesting from the Valiant side is that a counter to Sombra, I don't want to say like a hard counter, right? But a hero we see come out a lot when Sombra comes out on the defensive side is Reaper. We didn't see them go over to Reaper at all. You could have had, whether it's Reaper Ana, going up, because they weren't running like a 76 or somebody who could do damage from the Reaper at range, right? They were playing Tracer Sombra.
Yeah.
You could have gotten the Reaper into a pretty nice spot.
Again, the Reaper not overly affected by Sombra's hack or her EMP. His main ability is his primary fire, and he can still use that.
And it's got a little bit of lifesteal
Lifesteal, that's right. That's the way to go. Right, San Francisco Shock on the attacking side here. Going to have the Lucio, of course. Bedak is more than happy to be bringing that one back into the fold. Otherwise, a fairly standard composition for both sides, except for Unco on that Sombra here, hoping to cause as many problems as Dante did to the Valiant.
So the Shock are going to try and get some of the high ground here. You see Dante going on the flank, but it's really the opposite side where they're trying to get Baby Bay set up. They actually pinch, get bait early. So just like the last attempt where Nomi went down early, it's the main tank now for the Valiant out of the equation.
Not good for the Valiant, and they try and disengage here, at least keep themselves scarce in the coming moments while they're waiting. Fate's obviously respawn, but it's tough. It's a long walk back from spawn, and Soon's down. So now there are only 3 players after Karib's down. Only 3 left. Unco's gonna drop off the edge. They know it's pretty much done, and the Valiant know it's time to dig in, set up, and defend that second point. The Shock are in a very good position right now.
It was a lot like how the Valiant attacked, except this time Dante goes over by that mega health pack. He's able to force some players out of position. Baby Bay finishes off the kills. Dante gets on the point there for a second. Up on that high ground, it's the pulse bomb. It'll be Fate diving in, takes out Baby Bay. Dante falls as well, so you won't see a real big push here from the Shock. They're gonna back all the way out. Unco does have that EMP to use here for the Valiant. You're gonna have that tack visor, so a tack visor plus EMP could be pretty devastating.
So this is obviously why you saw the Valiant, when they were down to 3 players, just drop off the map and make sure they were ready to set up here so that the Shock couldn't just try and run in and take it by surprise. Sleepy's about to have his shield stripped from him. Unco goes in. He can still get out for another couple of seconds, and he still gets the kill. Didn't have to use the EMP for it, and now it's open season. The Valiant know there's only 5 players left for the Shock, and it's time to get their hands dirty.
Yeah, it was Unco coming from one side and then Soon attacking from the other. As soon as they pick up that kill, Fate dives in on the Winston. They're able to push remaining members of the San Francisco Shock back. So, not really a fight there. It's just an early pick by Unco that forces the Shock to back out. But look at this. We have so many ultimates here. Pretty much everybody going to have an ultimate on both teams coming into this
big
fight.
Because normally the team, i.e. the Valiant, should be behind in ultimates because they lost that first fight. But that one pick for Unco actually gave them a 6v5, a chance to get their ultimates on par with the Shock. That's big. It cancels out the potential snowball effect of the attacking team getting that first point on the first fight. Unco now has an EMP, hasn't opted to use it quite yet. He's waiting. Shock are being very tentative here, man.
Yeah, so what the Valiant did is they sent Fate up to the high ground with that Primal Rage. They used a speed boost from Verbo as well to maybe force out one of those support ults from the San Francisco Shock. It didn't work, so you didn't get Zach to use the Sound Barrier or Sleepy to use Transcendence. You're gonna have Baby Bay use Attack Visor trying to open things up.
What's the response gonna be? Soon manages to avoid a bit of the damage by breaking line of sight, and now the Transcendence is gonna be used by Sleepy. So Baby Bay can be confident here, knowing he's got the healing, but that's the EMP coming in after the fact. Baby Bay doesn't care though. Plenty of damage that he can deliver, and Dante's found Fate with the Pulse Bomb. This is looking dangerous for the Los Angeles Valiant. Big Helix rocket connection for Baby Bay there. He forces back the reinforcements for the Valiant, who need to double back themselves to get some health. That's Karib especially. He couldn't get onto the point. It's almost done already. Verbo throws himself at the point. Soon's already taken down. Now it's Fate to step up and take a shot. Unco joining now. 3 players, 4 here for the Valiant. But Karib's down. Dante's working around the side. Piecemeal, he's making his way closer and closer. It's like a gobstopper, man. Fate low, Baby Bay forced out, and almost another tactical visor for him ready to go.
Yeah, they just gotta wait a few seconds. You're gonna get Evix back into this fight. He's gonna put a self-destruct on the point. You see the May coming out from Envy. Not for long though, it's gonna be Dante able to pick him up. The Shock looking to take point B here, getting so close, Mitch. They finally take it. They have 4 minutes and 15 seconds in their time bank. And you're wondering, hey, you used that EMP. Why didn't you get a lot of value out of that? That EMP connected with nobody.
Let's hear the Shock's comms defending, actually, just to see how they managed to hold things so close together and tight.
Monkey bubble. Mini, nice. Got mech left side. Soldier low. Healing. Soldier one. I'm going, let's go. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I'm going. Lose low. Yo, stack EMP. Yeah, I'm going back for kills. Go Diana. I need back. Divik there.
Careful.
I'm 50% on
Taking
chance.
back.
There you go. A lot of the initiation calls actually coming from Nomi in this instance there. Obviously taking a fairly key voice. But this is massive, Matt. 4 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock for the Shock just to get point A. And they'll win the map.
You know, when you play around that Sombra, you have to get value out of that EMP. No, to Unco's credit, he actually got it faster than we saw from Dante on the Shock, but you just didn't get a ton of value out of it. And you only got one crack at it, right?
Definitely not about how fast you are, it's how you use it in this case.
Yeah, and I think what happened is he used it by the Mega Health pack, and there was too many people like on the opposite side of the wall. It wasn't connecting with anything.
Need that line of sight on the opponents to make sure you connect with the EMP. It's so crucial, critical on this map. Sombra has been a mainstay on Volskaya for a long time, even prior to this patch. But now it's up to the Shock here. One tick is all they need to take this to map 2 with them in a 1-0 lead, and they're going to make their way through. Again, it's piecemeal, bit by bit. Get up to the left-hand side. They've actually attracted a bit of attention as Feint tries to dive.
Yeah, this time they're not going to let Baby just get set up on that high ground for free. They're going to try and stop him before he can get on in, but they take out soon. That's going to be huge. Now they're going to know there's going to be no flanks coming in outside of Unco potentially trying to come up here. Baby should be able to safely just rain down a ton of damage.
And look at him standing off towards the side here, so if he's not spotted, he can actually be playing away from where Fate would land if he tried to dive. In a moment, the Valiant are going to have to get aggressive because they're losing players. They're bleeding them out. Unco's there on the point. He's hoping to have an EMP to use, and he does have it. But the Shock is spread, using this hit-scan pressure of Baby Bay from above. Nevix is on the ground. And we're close to the attack here for Baby Bay, and that tick is getting closer. Something's going to give now.
And it's going to be Unco going on top. He's going to use the EMP. He's going to connect on a Baby Bay. They're going to use that Transcendence as well. Here's going to be the attack visor, though. Let's see if Baby Bay can pick up some kills.
Good timing here from Baby Bay. He's found a bit of damage, but not enough to get the finishes. Kareem, though, was cut down by Dante. Ultimately, and Baby Bay's going to get jumped on. He's able to get back, though. Transcendence now brought to bear by Sleepy. It's a hack, though. Baby Bay can only use his primary fire, and it's not going to be enough. Soon is able to tear strips off in there with his pulse pistols. And Unco deals with Sleepy, of course, after he would have had his shield hacked away, or at least his abilities cancelled. That will be the Shock backing out. With one tick, none of their progress remains after these fights occur. So you'll notice in the middle, it's gone back to 0. They need to get a clean 33%.
Unco gets a big kill on Anomi, which buys them a little bit of time, and then there was a nice EMP up top. He was able to connect with the Baby Bay, couldn't use that attack visor right away, and then they used that Transcendence on the ground. That was a really nice play there from the Valiant. This time, though, they're going to give that high ground to Baby Bay yet again. Big Kareev on the opposite side, playing 76 now for the Valiant.
Yeah, the Valiant aren't grouped up enough to actually challenge that high ground position. They've got to give it up, and that's going to be another EMP now. And Evix, he has been removed from his suit. Taken down rather quickly as well. Dak, nice little boot to buy a little bit of room here for Baby Bay himself and Sleepy on the high ground. It's 3 players for the Shock playing up here, but now they're going to be hemmed in on all sides. Sleepy going down to Kareev, and that's going to be it. The Shock, again, are taken to task.
It was a really nice EMP use there from Unco. So both tanks dropped down for the Shock, and what they're trying to do is, force the tanks up top for the Valiant, and then they're going to jump right back up after them. They get hit with the EMP, so Nomi and Nevix not able to get back to Baby Bay and the supports up top. That allows Fate and Envy, and then Unco gets up there as well to just dive on those remaining players up top. Pretty much free kills at that moment in time.
See that dive in, and Dante is waiting in the wings with the, hopefully, one pulse bomb to rule them all, but Unco is still going to give him problems. He needs to get rid of the Sombra, but he can't. He's forced into a recall. Pulse bomb dropped, however, by Soon, not finding its mark, so Dante has the advantage in that regard, and the Shock are now trying a different approach, more roundabout perhaps. That's a good stick, though. Tough for Fate. He's down.
Oh, and they're going to use that sound barrier just a second too late. They're not able to keep him up. It'll be Kareev using his attack visor, but he gets pushed all the way out.
Here we go.
Primal Rage.
That's going to be Envy with a self-destruct on Nevix's mech, and Soon is low, forced into a recall, and Envy trying to chase Nevix down. That Mini Diva clearly quite the target, but Envy has to give up his mech as a result. It doesn't even get the Mini Diva. Unco gets the finish off at least, but surely there are bigger fish to fry. He doesn't get out. Translocator thrown in futility as Unco is cut down before he can escape the fray, and the Shock start up 1-0 in the lead.
It's like Crumbs talked about in the desk. You cannot sleep on the San Francisco Shock. We saw them play Seoul Dynasty very tough. They come in here and they steal map 1 against the Valiant.
I'm just saying, Matt, there are a couple of DPSs sat on the bench for the Valiant that would love to get their teeth into some Overwatch right now. However, as it stands, a difficult map. A largely impotent attack on the second point for the Valiant really made it hard for them to build some progress up and actually take control. They got it done, but the Shock were much faster. We'll see you guys after the break for map 2.
It's a good. Focus point. Everybody point. Everybody point. Point right now. Point right now. Lucio one as well.
I don't want to. I want to make us.
Jason, no recall behind us. Point. Point.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Here in Overwatch League Stage 2, I'm so excited, man. New maps, new meta.
I'm excited to see a lot more Lucio back. He does enable with that speed boost, a lot of the deep dives.
This meta going forward, I'm predicting it's going to be very, very fun to watch.
In general, I'd say this patch is very good for our team. Before, you kind of had to play Mercy all the time. She won't get as much playtime because of the Valkyrie. It isn't as strong. You can't double rest in a fight anymore, but you're more flexible now.
That has benefited us tremendously because then we have more players playing their comfort picks.
I'm able to display my strengths, which is being able to play Lucio.
Burbo coming up with a sound barrier. He has the most impactful ability.
제가 제일 잘할 수 있는 영웅을 플레이할 수 있어서 굉장히 좋아요.
Toby, he is the king of the Lucios. He is the best Lucio in the league.
With Lucio, I can just be more aggressive. I can see the action. I can set up plays better.
Zephyrsight, huge performance out the back.
루시우를 하면은 오더를 하기가 좀 더 쉬운 게 제가 전장 상황을 좀 더 보기가 편해서.
Lucio's really good on maps where there's a really big open area, where both the offense needs the speed to close the gap and the defense needs the speed to use the space effectively to disengage.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
He's always been my favorite hero to play in Overwatch, and I'm glad I'm able to do so on stage 2.
We're gonna see a lot more Moira this stage in general, just because like tanks are more viable. So on certain maps you can go to the Moira without losing too much.
아나는 하나무라 같은 이제 좀 긴 맵에서는 수비 때 많이 쓰이거든요.
Pumping the heels and non-stop.
She can pretty much line aside and heal all their teammates from a set position.
Any map with like long sidelines where Anna can play safe is pretty viable.
다른 모든 선수들도 이번 패치를 굉장히 반기고 있거든요. 이제 메르시 메타 끝나서 뭔가 좀 슈퍼 플레이 같은 그런 화려한 플레이도 좀 더 잘 나오게 됐고.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And if this is the first time you've joined us in Stage 1, you will notice that the games are a little bit different, Matt.
Yeah.
The meta, as we call it, has changed. But for those maybe at home who aren't really sure what we mean when we use that word, let's maybe flesh that out a little bit more for people at home.
No, it's really just the most efficient team composition, right? Right now, we see a lot of dive. We talk about, dive compositions, and that's, using that Lucio speed boost with the other high mobility heroes to close the gap, like Dak said, right? Close the gap to the opponents. You're able to just dive onto players and then just take them out with relative ease. Where, in the last meta in Stage 1, we saw it was really about playing around your Widowmakers, right? Playing around your Mercies, using that damage boost, building up Valkyrie, playing off those resurrections. So it's really just finding what the most effective team comp is, just overall on different maps, and just kind of see what works the best.
So as we cut here to Lijiang Tower for our second map, it might help to imagine meta, if you spell it out, as most efficient tactic available. It doesn't mean that necessarily, but it's a handy acronym to help you remember. Meta obviously means outside of, outside of the game. Think metaphysical, meta game, very similar, okay? It's the take on the game that the pro players bring in to an already established title like Overwatch, and that sort of ripples outward, and you'll see that a lot of teams as a result foundationally build their compositions very similarly, Matt. But it's Lijiang Tower, so on that same vein, or in that same vein, what should we be expecting to see on this map when we're heading into Gardens?
Well, on this map, you can see a lot of Pharah play. For instance, this is a map that Pharah is very good. If you bring in Pharah, you most likely want Mercy, potentially, right? For tanks, it's really, on this point, Guardian, it's really about Winston and D.Va. They just have great mobility to get back to the point, get over the bridge with relative ease, whatnot, and then Tracer is always going to be good. There's not really a map where you can say, maybe like second point on Dorado, but Dorado's not really in the pool, where Tracer kind of struggles a little bit. Tracer very good on Lijiang.
Again, the points on this map especially are heavily, circular, we'll say that, concentric. You can do laps around them, and Tracer likes to run circles around her opponents in general. So, both teams fielding a Tracer. However, Kareev is actually going to bring the Pharah into the Valley.
Which is usually a role you see Agilities play. So they're going to stick with Kareev here at map number 2 to play Pharah. It'll be soon. He takes out Nova at the beginning. Dak goes off the side there. So not a great start here for the Shock. They're just losing the players quite quickly as they're going to have to back out.
That's tricky though for a Lucio player, because you're jumping around a heck of a lot of the time. Dak was airborne when he was affected by the area of effect of Kareev's concussive blast, which, if you know, knocks you back. So there wasn't actually anything you could really do about it. You do have a degree of air control in Overwatch, but I don't think even holding down W, he would have been able to stay up on that ledge.
Yeah, they're really going to put a lot of pressure on Nemix to eat a lot of these rockets as they try and walk across. And you see Soldier and Zenyatta on the opposing side. So you know the Discord Orb's going to be flying at Kareev, and it's going to be Babyface's job to try and take him out.
Dante, a bit of damage there, and Soon is being very careful, just dipping his toe in the water so far, because they seem to be electrified by Nomi. Oh, Pulse Bomb might help though, only gets the Winston. Nomi has a presence of mind to get away from his teammates when that went off, but still, he takes a huge amount of damage. He stays alive for the time being, but that's essentially end of the fight, and Kareev almost gets a bit of skeet shooting done there, connecting with that target in mid-air. Dante was able to survive and get away. Still, 45% to 0, and the Valiant are off to a very good start.
Yeah, but when your main tank is pretty much, effectively dead at the beginning of both of these pushes, you're not really able to get much of anything done. I say that because Nomi gets pretty much chopped down to no HP, has to jump out anyway, so may as well be that he's not even there. It'll be Baby using attack buy, so they're going to use Transcendence here as well. So it's going to be the Shock investing heavy into this fight.
Okay, Babyface forced out here. The tactical buzz has expired. He actually found a kill on Verbo, but it was with a Helix rocket and not the Riser itself. Now it's going to be a bit rough for Babyface. There's not much that can be done. He actually takes himself out with his own Helix rocket, by the way. Nomi now wants to return the favor, get a little bit of Hulk Wild on the point here on that Winston. Primer Rage available for another couple of seconds, but he's not made much. Oh dear. He does get a jump reset as he comes out of Primer Rage. So you can essentially get a quick double jump to keep them alive.
Yeah, they use that sound barrier though from Zach, and they only connect with 2 other players. It connects with Sleepy and Nevix. And at that point, Nomi's jumping out of the fight, right? So you don't have your main tank there yet again, as Unko just flying through the air. Use the Valkyrie at the beginning of this fight, already back up to 77%.
This might be done.
Probably don't even need it.
Already, the Shock never got in control of the point. Now they're just desperately throwing themselves at it, but they're running out of players and really can only go one at a time. Nice job by Nomi to get himself in through the window on one jump, but Dante is going to be knocked back. He'll still have a chance to get onto the point and prolong the course of this round, but he needs all 6 players with him to wrest control away, and that's not an option at this stage. A very quick response fired across the bow here for the Valiant. Bring it back this first round.
You know, for me, the difference on that point, as we highlighted a few times, is, you know, Nomi versus Fate. Fate goes 9-0, and you know, Nami goes 1-4. You know, he was just dying at the beginning of those fights, and you know, when you don't have that Winston, it just, you know, obviously the bubble very effective, but just, you know, his body being able to jump in, take a ton of damage, you know, allow your Tracer to work around different angles. Your 76, it opens up more space for him as well. When he's dead, it makes it very difficult for those DPS players to really get good line of sight on the other team.
Very notable that neither Fate nor Envy in that round actually died. So they stayed alive for the entirety of it. Huge, by the way, if neither of your tanks die. That also means the Shock were able to focus down targets apart from the tanks, but still, it clearly wasn't enough. So now we reset. We go now towards Night Market. And Kareem wants to take a commanding position on the battlefield here to make sure he can get some early poke damage done. So far, so good. Oh, Baby Bay! Didn't see that one coming, did you? Helix Rocket coming out of nowhere. And that's huge. Kareem, he makes no personal investment physically in that fight. He doesn't throw himself in the mix. He still gets a kill. Massive.
That is a tough fight to lose here for the San Francisco Shock. Baby Bay is able to take out Fate at the beginning. And after that, everything falls apart. Sleepy and Dak, they jump off the side. They're going to reset themselves as... Oh, it'll be the Valiant who control the point here early.
Did you have flashbacks of your Helix Rocket on shore 4 with that one there, Matt?
I did a little bit. Mine was a little bit longer distance, so my tracking. No, not to hype myself up.
No, you wouldn't do that, of course. Soon's Pulse Bomb gets in, ended up in the track spin with the rest of them as Dante eats him up. Was Nevix, should I say, to remove that from the battlefield with the use of Defense Matrix. And now Kareem is close to the tactical visor. He sees an orange streak fly past him, and he knows that Dante's encroaching. But with the Transcendence here, Kareem can have the confidence, the peace of mind to come forward and duel out. But he was on the edge, literally teetering on the precipice of falling off, and Baby Bay tells me extra damage required. He wasn't benefiting anymore from the Transcendence, but now Evan needs to resuit, get back in the mix. Unfortunately, most of his teammates have perished before he had the chance to remech, to resuit, to recommit to the fight, and he'll be removed himself in due time.
Should be able to take the point here rather quickly. All right, so it'll go up to 49% there for the Valiant. Thought it was going to tick over to 50, yes. Now the Shock can move up a little bit, maybe play a little bit closer to the door here. Verbo will have a sound barrier, so they have to be careful, right? No support ults for the San Francisco Shock here. So if they play a little bit close to the door, they could get caught off guard, right? Just a speed boost can go right on by.
This guy!
Sound barrier soon trying to backcap.
Just doesn't give up. He's now 1v1ing Dante on the point. We'll keep you updated about that one, but in the meantime, this is where the real action is. They're out in the middle courtyard. The quadrangle lets Nomi with a Primal Rage. Again, he's managed to do a lot of displacement work, but not found any kills. Perhaps a lack of follow-up as the rest of the Shock were following back to the point, leaving their Simian combatant out in the mix, but they've lost Nomi and Dante. Now to start to fall like flies or dominoes, depending on what your game is. With Uncode down, the only casualty from the Valiant, they take control back again.
Well, with this fight win here for the LA Valiant, you didn't have to use either of the support ults. You know, Unco was getting very close to Transcendence, but you didn't have to use Verbo's sound barrier there at all. I thought that was going to be, well, it's huge. I mean, you come back with both support ultimates, you have your tac visor. That's huge. I thought they were going to have that least. Maybe that they're trying to do with Nomi, using that Primal Rage to get everybody weak inside that close area. They use that sound barrier, but Verbo holds onto it, so you have that big support ult for the Valiant coming up soon.
Takes some cojones not to go for the sound barrier when your team's getting battered by a Winston in close quarters, and yet Verbo delivered. Now Kareem's turn to step up to the plate, but most of his targets are obscured by walls and other such pesky objects. And Kareem hit his aimbot, but not wall hack. That's a different hero. It doesn't seem to matter though. He's still got rid of Nevix's mech. And forcing San Francisco to stay inside, away from the tactical visor, gave the Valiant all the space they needed to crush them, hammer and anvil style, inside those halls.
That'll be it. Shock not able to make it back to the point. Be the Valiant with a dominant map number 2. Maybe they try to use that tack visor inside there and it'll get pushed back by Fate. They tried to use the sound barrier to keep themselves up too. Just not enough.
Just so clean as well, and you can see that Soon is trying to orchestrate these comebacks for the Valiant by committing himself to tickling the point, to trying backcap, to draw a player away from the shock. If he goes 1v1 versus Dante, I think he's okay with that kind of stuff for the shock. All had to fold back. They all had to respond to him. Then the rest of the Valiant collapse in. Again, the pincer move worked out for them well. It's one apiece here. Quite the match so far. We'll see you after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
You just gotta keep moving forward.
And we're back. This one's all tied up one apiece. The Shock come out and steal game number one, but the Valiant battle back and take game two. So let's talk about the action so far. In this segment, we're going to hit individual players today, and I want to start here with Kareev. Before we look at his highlights, let's talk about why you would be running Kareev, a guy that was on your Mercy in Stage 1 in a DPS role. The Valiant showing us some new looks here in Stage 2.
Feels bad for the DPS, right? You're starting DPS, and the Mercy player is now taking your role on the second stage, so you never really see that one coming. But he's got great aim. He's playing the Soldier, and he's doing a lot of work with that one. And that's why you're running him, just because he has that flexibility, and he also brings the Widowmaker. So his hero pool, I think, is actually very different from what Silk Thread and Agilities are bringing to the pool, and that's why you have him.
Yeah, in general, I mean, to anyone who's new to Overwatch as well, you might not realize it, but Kareev used to play DPS as well back in the day. He used to play these damage-dealing roles So it's not too much of a surprise, but it is a surprise in the fact that they're not fielding some of these stronger DPS players that we know they've had success with in the past. Now, I'm not necessarily claiming that Kariv is the problem. Okay, there's no way I'd be claiming that, would I, at the end of the day? But because he is playing very well and around it, I feel like it's an actual deeper issue with the team itself, with the addition of Kariv, maybe communication. It's hard to really say it's communication because I'm not listening to the comms. But it's definitely, you can tell there's a different sort of play style that's occurring with Valiant now that Kariv is in the mix.
And we're going to focus on the DPS here in this segment. So we kind of touched on Kariv, and talking to some of the other people backstage that said it's the Widowmaker. He's probably got the stronger Widow than what you're seeing from Agilities, what we may have seen from Silk Thread. But let's talk about the Shock, because one guy that's on the bench right now is Sinatra. And if you guys have been following Overwatch League, he has one of the highest I guess, salaries in the league.
Yeah.
He's not even playing yet. And when Dante was signed, we thought this may be temporary. Dante's been showing up really strong in the last 2 weeks. What did he show us so far in the first half?
Well, he's one of the few guys that's running Sombra as a DPS. Fleta was the first one that showed us this on the stage too. Maybe that's just because Seoul Dynasty got to play first. We don't really know, but Dante's been showing up on the Tracer and the Sombra heroes that are pretty similar in kind of the playstyle that you want to approach with them, and he's just going off on these lone warrior missions a lot of the time and making it work, which is what's most impressive.
I'm a big fan of when teams run a damage-dealing Sombra. A lot of teams tend to put one of their support players on that role because you can kind of fulfill the same sort of purpose in terms of healing output is going to be very similar, but in general, I much prefer when teams put a DPS player because in general, their mechanics are going to be sharper. They're going to be able to pick up kills on the back lines, which your support players aren't necessarily.
I want to harp on that one when you mentioned that the Sombra can be used as a healer, right? She doesn't have any healing abilities, but the fact that you're lowering the cooldown of the health packs and you're making them heal a lot more means that you can have your healers go back into those packs, and it works as a heal in that way, but it does restrict you in going back to those corridors to get that extra top up that you might need.
And we should remind everybody, we are still on the old patch, the Mercy and Junkrat nerfs, where Sombra is going to be charging up that EMP every time a teammate grabs that health pack. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Dante's performance, though, because he's 14-5 when he's playing map number 1, Volskaya. A little bit of room to get behind people. Just 1-6 when it came to the control. Why is your Tracer getting shut down in control if you're the San Francisco Shock?
So, Shock, they have a game plan in mind when they come into these series. Every single time, they have a strategy that they employ. In this case, it was Dante running the Sombra, right? They were very much set on that. They focused it well. They actually researched Valiant. You could tell in the way they were playing as well, which is why they took the win. But then when it comes to control on maps where they might not have so much of a deep strategy, these sort of like internal, whatever it is, movements around the map that they can play, that's when they kind of start to fall short. Especially against a team like Valiant, where they've got so much mechanical skill. They've got Face on the Winston as well that's going to be taking the appropriate positioning every single time. You've got Soon as well, Kariv that's going to be popping off, 2 of these star DPS players, which means there's no room for error for Shock to really mess up at all. If you mess up once, Valiant's going to be capitalizing off it straight away.
We talked about the Shock's Tracer. Let's talk a little bit about the Valiant's Tracer. Soon has been the star DPS for this squad since the Valiant was put together. The Frenchman, one of the best in this role in particular. What has he shown us in the first 2 games? Because they lost the first one.
Well, unfortunately for him, the first one wasn't, he wasn't able to actually come up with the win. He had some sick sticks here, being able to actually, he actually forced out the Primal, but then also gets the kill onto Dante. Now we get to really see how that happened. But, I mean, Control was where he really just was shining through. He was being able to put so much pressure on the point and hammering away at these tanks, which, as we know, needs a little bit more work on some teams, but that's what he did.
Yeah, in general, he didn't have to worry about so much, map 1, you do have to worry about the constant threat of the Sombra player. Map 2 is Li Zhang. He can start to let loose a little bit. Kariv is going to be laying in those rockets from above. You saw him on the far as well. So soon, all he has to do is be in that supporting role, which he plays so well on Tracer, right? He is kind of that support Tracer. He's in the back lines. He's being a bit of a nuisance, He's pulling the players back. That's where Soon plays best.
That's where Soon is always at, it seems. Backcapping, catching you off on the flank. Let's close this one out here with a preview of the second half and something we need to look out for from our teams. Map number 3 is Kings Row. We're going to a hybrid map, and as we look back at Assault, we know there's going to be some similar settings where the attacking team is going to have to go through the defense trying to use the ultimate sparingly to hold. You got a telestration for us, Bren. What are we about to break down?
This is an interesting telestration because it's actually kind of like counterproductive in a way. What I'm trying to convey here is the fact that Los Angeles Valiant, what they were struggling with as well, I think, is tunnel visioning onto the single target too much. So Nev, as you can see, is just down here. What he's going to attempt to do is try and stall as much as possible by coming up this back way here and stalling with them. Now, as this plays out slowly, you can see Los Angeles Valiant, they get all of the picks they need to really take this point. They get the positioning on the point as well. All of these kills flow in. So there's going to be 4 members of Shock that are currently finished right now off the battlefield. Nevix immediately, notice, he's going to be jumping straight into the back lines here to try and contest. Now, normally you only need 1 or 2 players to contest this, but Valiant chuck every single body onto the point, and what this means is now Dante is free to get onto the point as well. Normally, what some of these teams like to do is play positionings around here and here, so nobody can get onto the point in time, but this was sort of the reoccurring theme throughout this entire map for Valiant, was that they were focusing too much on sort of individual players, not playing bodies to the point, not really capping it up as fast as they could, and it ultimately led to the sort of loss as well, around the fact that they were playing pretty poorly around Dante Sombra as well as a team. Sort of they're a bit too patient, a bit too passive, waiting in a choke point, grouping up. Those are the main issues that I spotted. Now for Control, obviously, different game mode, they turned it around, but if they fall into the same habits now for King's Row, they might be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, it could be a big problem for them moving forward. The Valiant will find out, can they get the job done? Kings Row is coming up next. Let us know in the chat right now, who do you have taking the game 3? Is it going to be the Los Angeles Valiant, or do you have the Shock taking the lead here in the best of 4? The action continues on the other side of this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
How'd that feel, boys? I told him my feedback was 3 was too many.
Yeah.
Hot mic. Hey.
Hey, we got ourselves a good one on our hands right now. We are all tied up 1-1. Now, if you guys remember, for the San Francisco Shock, they got off to kind of a rough start in the first stage, but it looks like they've really been fighting their footing here in stage 2. And as for the LA Valiant, they're just looking to maintain their spot toward the top of the standings. Who's got the sauce to avoid the loss? Let's find out right now and send it over to our casters, Mr. X and Uber.
Hello, everybody. Yes, second half coming just around the corner. Malik knows what's up. He's in there. He's getting the feeling of the crowd. It's good to hear a little bit of noise coming out today on a Wednesday, no less. But Matt, so far over the course of this series, we talked a little bit about the changes we've seen the Valiant make. And it's safe to say that Kareev, statistically and even via the eye check, is performing well. He had a very good last map.
No, he has been performing quite well as a DPS. I know some of the Valiant fans are kind of torn. They're like, oh, we want to see Soaked and Agility's back, put Kareev.
Do you, though?
And
really?
Kareev's been playing quite well. We'll go to Kings Row here for map number 3. Maybe a little bit just because, they really liked what they saw with, Agilities and Silk Thread, both playing DPS very good during stage 1, and maybe something like, well, a support player becoming DPS, it's usually the other way, right? DPS players, turn into supports, like it's not the other way around. It's just kind of seems a little odd, but he's been playing quite well. We know he can do on Widowmaker, and his 76 was very good there on Lijiang Tower.
Huge impact. I would say 17 kills for, what was it, 4 deaths?
Yeah, I think 17 and 5.
That's big. 17 and 5, that's big impact, where I think Baby Bay was 11 and 7. So, actually Baby Bay having a similar proportion of overall team's damage. But here's Kings Row, guys. It's heading onto a hybrid map. And of course, this is a map where we get to see a couple of different compositions, man. Let's talk through what we should expect to see pop up here.
Yeah, you can see a lot of tank-heavy compositions in the second part of the map, where you go from point B to point C. There's so many different things you can use at the beginning, right, on the offensive side. We've seen teams like Houston run Hanzo, we've seen double sniper at times, just Widowmaker with whether it be Tracer or Genji, just a lot of different looks. We see a lot of Zarya on this map, Zarya Reinhardt combinations.
It's almost like
San Francisco shotgun with Undead.
Almost like a different world, right? It's almost like a different game sometimes, because this map has features that cater far more to keeping, well, excuse the term, I've used it before, but boots on the ground, all right? Not too much jumping up. We don't worry about verticality so much, especially on the second part.
I only know about jetpacks. I don't know nothing about boots.
I know, bro. We're working you off it. We're weaning you off that, bro. I think you're improving, though, to be honest.
Add more jetpacks.
Yeah. Jetpack cap. You heard it.
No, take them away.
San Francisco Shock. They've got the McCree here, right? So Baby Bay has to be very careful if Soon comes out on this Widowmaker, because again, he's not going to be able to do anything to Soon at that long range. I guess he's hoping to chunk down some tanks and shut some flankers down, but the Valiant aren't bringing much on the flanking side.
No, they're going to go double sniper. So they're going to have Kareev play Hanzo, and Soon will play the Widowmaker. The players on the Shock have to be very careful. I know the Shock, they're running Baby Bay on McCree, who's not a very mobile hero. He has a rather larger hitbox for a DPS hero. They're one of the ones you can definitely connect with. Then Sleepy also, playing that Zenyatta, very easy target for a Widowmaker.
You notice that Kareev was trying to bait out that aggression from Dante so Soon could find him with the shots here from his rifle. It looks like the San Francisco Shock are backing off the point here. They're going to use a Reinhardt shield as safe refuge as long as they can, but you can see it's cracked. It's definitely chipped, and now it's no longer really giving any protection whatsoever, and Fate just gives Nomi the big steel-clad embrace we know that Reinhardt provides. Baby Bay, sure enough, finds a kill, but he goes face first into a fire strike. And his story was cut very short.
Yeah, Ungo builds that nano boost rather quickly, gives it over to Fate. It'll be the Valiant that unlock the payload here, and we'll see some compositional changes come in for the second part of the map. So this is where you can get a little bit tank heavy. This is where Zarya, I think, really shines on this map in the street phase, right? Just the close quarter areas allows her to build up charge quite fast, and look for Envy to build up that charge rather quickly with that Junkrat on the other side.
Okay, I'm curious here. If Soon wants to stay on the Widowmaker, how he wants to play this. So far, he's actually up on the left-hand side. You can't see him on screen right now, but he's watching the flanking routes and making sure the Shock can't get around. Excuse me. He's now returned to the rest of his team, but you can see he's constantly checking that left side, because if he starts to put pressure on, the Shock are going to go looking for him. For the moment, though, Baby Bay's just looking for a couple of those happy red skulls. He's used the Deadeye. Fate shielded up, absorbing some damage there, and he's giving some charge away. That's the Earth Shatter. Didn't fight too much on the Transcendence, was there to follow it up. Nomi opportunistically catches Fate on the way down with a fire strike, and yeah, it's time to get your skates on if you're Dak. Pushing the rest of the Shock forward, knowing they had a man advantage, and the Valiant are bundled out of that second stage.
The Shock do end up using their Transcendence there, so they won't have that Transcendence to combat the grab that Envy's got right now. It'll be the grab that comes out from Nevix, though. It's a 3-man mine there into the Graviton Surge. Baby Bay with some cleanup there, too. So they use a sound barrier there, and they use their grab. In the next fight, they will have the Riptire and Earth Shatter, and they're going to need it because you have that Graviton Surge on the opposing side here for Envy.
Dunta sat there watching Jake over the last couple of months, and then he says to his team, you know what, boys, hold my stubby, I'm going in. 3 kills with that one remote mine. Pretty filthy. Riptire also available for Dante. So explosive potential is there in spades, to say the very least. He thought about getting a high ground spot here to really catch the Valiant off guard. But thinks twice about it.
And there's going to be the grab that connects with 4 players there. Oh, and all 4 dead.
Oh, the good stuff. Oh, the good stuff. Massive from Kareev there. Great setup, of course. A Graviton Surge provided by Envy ties the shot together in a nice little bow. And of course, Kareev sends it packing. Set him up and knock him down. Note the shield was broken there as well. So good thinking for the Valiant. They had Soon there to pressure the Reinhardt barrier down so Kareev could get all the targets that were cowering behind it.
Oh, man. That's a sick combo there from the Valiant. They hold on to their sound barrier, and they have their nano boost here. Be the Shock with the Transcendence, and they have Baby Bay with that Deadeye, but it's Dante with the Riptire. We've seen Riptire make so many big plays. Here it comes.
Now we hear it. We hear the sound cue. We know the Riptire's coming out, but it's so low, and Envy catches it before it reaches there. Charged Particle Laser was more than enough there to dispatch the Tire. Really giving Burn Rubber a new meaning, but Fate though, I know what he's looking to do. Note the Earth Shatter down the bottom. He's waiting for that shield to be missing, but in the meantime, Dante's just ripping through the Valiant.
Yeah, and Verbo's actually going for a sound barrier there, and in mid-air he actually gets taken out by Dante.
And he lost his ult charge.
He loses the ultimate there. That's a big play from Dante. He did have Nomi.
You're kidding me. Okay, he's been spotted. So, I tell you what,
he's gonna go on the flank.
This guy really takes playing sneakily to the next level, right? The most likely player to go for the back caps. You saw what he did to the Dallas Fuel on the map of Dumbani last stage. I guess he was hoping for a big Riptire there, but it's wishful thinking, to say the least.
Yes, I definitely would say that is wishful thinking. Just trying to sit there as all 6 members getting set up.
He should realize that Australians stick out like a sore thumb in the UK.
This is also very, very true. So, it'll be Fake with his Earth Shatter. Nomi used his last push. He was only able to connect with 1. It'll be Soon using his Riptire to grab that comes in there from Nevix. A few kills get followed up, or even here.
We are mostly. Nomi finds Fate here, and I think that's that kind of might be the trigger to push him back.
Yeah.
With the Reinhardt shield missing, there's not much there to really stave off that constant Junkrat damage coming in mid to late fight. Dante was in a good position there just to wreck the rest of the Valiant, so clever disengage.
Yeah, especially when you're playing McCree and Junkrat as well. You know, not having that shield to kind of walk those 2 heroes up.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, right? That's why you bring McCree and Junkrat, because they can actually benefit from that shield being there and kind of walk up and get into their optimal range. Speaking of which, Matt, Dante falls there. So Kareev was able to find him with the Peacemaker, and Envy will be looking for an opportunity to go for a Graviton Surge, or the Total Steam, as Doa likes to call it. However, the Transcendence here from the San Francisco Shock will give him pause for thought. He'll hang on for it for now, and they're using both support ultimates. San Francisco are going the whole way. Baby Bay and Dak are caught in that one. It's going to be an Earth Shatter from behind. Nomi catches Envy off, prevented him from following up on his own Graviton with the damage from the Charged Particle Laser. But there's more to be done. Dak trying to keep himself scarce, but he knows he can't contest that on his own. Hoping that Dante's rather delayed Riptire will do something here, but no, very little. Even Unco, ever the sharp one, catches it out. However, payload still being kept in stasis. It's being contested. Nevix comes forward, gives himself the barrier to keep it shielded up, but he's pushed away and slept, and the objective comes up for the Valiant.
Finally able to complete their push down the streets. The Valiant now try and complete the map here. So, man, that got scary there for a second. I thought when Nomi actually lands a big Earth Shatter and it stops Envy from getting any follow-up on his Graviton Surge, and some of those players stay alive on through it. They thought for a second there maybe the Shock were going to be able to pull it out. This will be a Riptire that comes in from Soon. The Valiant here just trying to buy themselves some space to get around that first corner.
Soon going coast to coast with it there, and he's found Nomi. No Mercy present here for the San Francisco Shock, so this could be a huge opening now. No Reinhardt shield, that really hurts. Dante's found Unco there as well, but it's time for Fate to lay the hammer down. Oh, that hurts! Fate gets a one-man swing, 2 kills from that one, and Dak is looking worse for wear on that payload. I'll give you the big tip. Soundberry now coming out for the remaining members of the Valiant, and it was 3 people to benefit from it. Also a nano boost if needed, but it won't be required. The Valiant, the Riptire, the plays, the 2-man Earth Shadow, it was all there. The Valiant get that map done. Looked like you said, a little bit scary at some points there. Looked like the shot could have held them up, but it's about a minute and 8 on the clock, man.
I did appreciate Dak trying to go for the save when 2 of his members get shattered, and you see Fate just walking on up with his Reinhardt hammer. He tries to dart on by, like boop him back and just save them for a second. It ends up actually getting himself found.
It does,
at the end. But hey, if he would have been able to save those 2 players, that would have been huge.
One boop could have changed that one, for sure. But then Nano Boost was then obviously applied to Fate, so they were looking pretty good. They were in good shape there towards the end, the Valiant were. But again, opening up with the Riptide, it's clear to see now that the Reinhardt, which for me is always the pivotal hero on this map in those last couple of stages, you take that out, and it seems like the Jenga tower just comes tumbling down.
Yeah, when you have Reinhardt in your when you have a Reinhardt, most likely they are playing a Reinhardt as well on this map, right? So when you lose that shield, it just forces you to just keep backing up, as that Reinhardt just kind of slowly just keeps on walking up, and you just lose so much space and ground. And that, when the other Reinhardt has an Earth Shatter, it's just game over.
You feel like you're always provoking a response as a Reinhardt who sort of moves forward, and generally speaking, it's sufficient to just try and break a Reinhardt shield, just pressure his shield down. That's why we see McCree, that's why we see Junkrat. We used to see back in, what we call the quad tank meta. We had 4 tanks per team, and it was always about who can break the Reinhardt shield first to allow the Roadhog players to land hooks in from behind it. So again, you can see how important getting rid of that shield is first. So guys, in your game, solo queue, whatever, wherever it is, shoot the shields.
Get rid of
Just
the
shoot
shield,
the shield.
please.
Okay? I know it affects your damage done. I know it affects your accuracy. Stop being stat padders and shoot the damn shields.
To be triple tank here from the Valiant on defense. Kareev will show off some of the other heroes in his hero pool. He'll play Zarya here on defense, and have soon play Junkrat. Unko is going to be playing Moira here, so they're most likely going to have that slower comp on the point, play for that back corner by the hotel, and just try and farm up this Coalescence rather quickly. You see Unko already at 25%.
When in doubt, quad tank it out. We'll see. The Valiant, it's triple tank, of course, for them here, should I say? Yeah, I can count bro sometimes.
I was like, that is definitely not
yeah, well, close enough. So confidence interval of 25%, Matt. Close enough. All right, so Dante's going to throw in there, concussive mind. Again, just try and keep the Valiant on their toes here and also prevent them from just setting up in that back corner.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what I was talking about. You see, there's no shield. Nomi just started walking up towards that choke. Everybody had to back out for the Valiant until they get their own shield back in play. It'll be Baby Bay using the Deadeye, trying to find one. The Coalescence being used here by Unko as well. Just trying to top everybody up with some heals.
Yeah. Baby Bay just playing outside of the range of the Coalescence, so wasn't being harassed. And the Valiant are holding pretty well, but this could be it. The flash to stop the shield. He tries to get it over the top there, but perhaps he should have gone for the flash first, because Fate now gets his chance to spring forward, and he doesn't waste it. 2 kills for him. Curry even found 2 in that fight. And a clean up for the Valiant. Now you're sweating if you're the Shock.
That was a very good opportunity for the Shock to take that point. And they used the Deadeye, which kind of negates anything that Unko would have got out of the Coalescence, right? If he wanted, they want to push off of that Coalescence, right? They do get the healing benefits of it, but you didn't really, you would have liked to have that ult later, right? So they did end up burning that Coalescence, but now you see they're getting very aggressive. They had the Riptire. They're trying to push on Nomi. They get him very weak. Forces him back. They were trying to get rid of Nomi and then land a big shatter.
And that's always going to be the plan. And Nomi now, again, there's no burst healing for the San Francisco Shock. They have a Lucio and a Zenyatta comp. So Nomi's health is going to tick up very slowly. If he goes back to base, it's going to take too long. So he literally has to sit and wait with a Orb of Harmony and get the health back. And now that time is being used well by the Valiant here. Transcendence though with the response. Self-destruct comes in. Nomi's caught out. He's charged inside the statue, but he's poking around the corner enough to still be blown up. Sound Barrier also committed to the fight. The San Francisco Shock are going for broke. The Valiant disengage, gives some space, ready to re-engage at a moment's notice, but with Verbo down, this might be the best chance they've had all game. But soon, lazily lobs in a concussive mine, and Baby Bay comes out in a lot of different pieces. And now the Valiant have to come back in to pressure, and the Shock are missing players. They're close, they're giving it up. Perhaps some miscommunication for the Valiant. And now, got egg on their face, and as they sit around and realize their point's been taken out from under them.
And I think they were waiting for Verbo to get back, and it was a huge kill by Sleepy that took out Verbo, and he was about 97% to that sound barrier. And maybe they're just playing in that back corner, right? Trying to get Verbo back in, then get a big speed boost through the archway with a sound barrier back onto the point, but he never actually makes it there in time.
Yeah, it didn't happen though, did it?
No. All of that, what I just said, did not happen.
Would have been great if it happened.
Well, if you're a Valiant fan.
Valiant now. Sitting up to the side. I think a longer fight. So it's good. Oh, you're a clever man, Nevix. Look at this. Pinning the Valiant up against the wall. There's no way they can block that or see it coming, but they actually survive it. And Baby Bay goes down. In fact, this might have turned back around towards the Shock. This wasn't what was planned at all. Maybe the Shock went ready to capitalize. Maybe they didn't have the tools. Or maybe, just maybe, the Valiant had just the right response.
And I feel like when you have a Zarya on your team and you build up to that grab, you gotta win the fight. You use the grab. They use the Graviton Surge there. Looks like a really good one, right? Really nice placement. Just not able to get much follow-up on it. Dante does have a Riptire here soon. Riptire out on the field. So it looks like the Valiant just want to push them all the way back through this choke point, right? They're just trying to buy so much space here with the Riptire. They get, well, as long as they got one kill off of it, right? You see how far back San Francisco has to go. That allows the Valiant to take more real estate here on this choke.
So what do you do for the shock? Do you, again, opt into this prolonged war of attrition in this Streets phase?
Well, because the Valiant are pushed so far up, and you see where the payload is there on your screen, they probably have a second fight here, the Valiant. So maybe if they just force the Shock to use some ultimates, they're in a good spot.
Oh, Nomi! I don't think that's where we intended to go with the Earthshatter at all. Getting completely knocked out of position, and it's impossible to tell who got knocked down by that. However, Dante manages to connect to Riptire. So amongst the chaos, there is some consistency, and that is Junkrat being dominant.
But look, the Valiant are going to get back here with another fight, most likely. So you see the cart being moved by the Shock. We can take a look at the instant replay. Everything used here by the Shock, though, Mitch. They use Transcendence, they use Sound Barrier, they use their Earthshatter in their Riptire. They're going to have a grab, which if Nevix lands a good grab, maybe the Valiant never actually make it back to the cart. He can't be too predictable, though. Could get eaten up by Envy.
I mean, the Valiant messed up the timing on that second point, re-engaged. This time they need to make sure it's centimeter perfect. Coming forward, double Graviton Surge being used, both teams there, just being caught together. But Dante, he's free, up on the top. No one's contesting him right now, and a Riptire will be just what the Doctor ordered, but he gets burst down. Envy finds him when he's on the high ground, and the Riptire doesn't find the mark, but you're right, Matt, they get across despite that. Again, the Valiant relent in a fight they should have remained in.
I wonder if they knew Nevix had that Graviton Surge, because they come in and they use their own, and it seemed like they were a little bit surprised they kind of got caught there on that payload. That Graviton Surge from Nevix, it's the big one there for the Shock, as now they look to be setting a very good time on this map, Mitch.
Fate was looking low, gets his health, but that comes in to boop him back. He gets in behind the shield and gets the boop. A little capitalization on that at this time. You can see that Nomi's quite low, and again, no burst healing for the Shock. They need to wait. They need to disengage very well with this comp. Luckily, Lucio helps you do that, but it wasn't enough for Dante to get out unscathed after the Riptire made a beeline for him.
Yeah, as Nomi did use his Earthshatter there, I believe they tried to knock up Fate into the sky. Land that Earthshatter, it just didn't happen there.
Didn't happen though, did it?
So you do have Verbo with his Sound Barrier here for the Valiant on defense. You have both support ults available for the Shock. Maybe you try and do something where you speed boost, you know, Baby Bay when he gets that Deadeye, as to be the Sound Barrier that opens things up here for the San Francisco Shock, but Dante falls right at the beginning of this fight.
And a calm and collected from Fate as well. He just takes a big step back, puts the shield up, and then he knows when to put the shield down. Unco, of course, it's easy damage for him. There is no Diva Mech at that point in the fight, so we knew he could throw a, offensive Biotic Orb in, the one that does damage, right? He throws it, he gets a heck of a lot done, and then follows up. And that's good for him. Coalescence coming right up. The San Francisco Shock are about to fall behind in time banking. It's not a good sign, considering how much longer they still have to press forward.
Maybe you can see a combo come out here for the Valiant where they can knock Nomi either out just to kill him, or they can just knock him up in the air and then land a big shatter. It'll be Baby using his Deadeye. It'll be the Earthshatter that comes out from Fate, doesn't connect with anything.
Nicely baited out. The Deadeye draws Fate forward. He kind of flubs that one, and oh, that's nice. Dante finds himself that two-man Riptire, and it seems as if Soon was standing still and channeling his himself. But now the Shock, they're on the final stretch here. Yeah, there might be a chance for a couple players to come in for the Valley, but that communication was lacking a couple times this round. Touch the point, darn it! Envy gets there, Fate gets blown up in midair. Still the Coalescence to keep the Diva alive for now, and the Sound Barrier thrown in the mix as well, but this has been a slapdash attempt at recontesting here from the Valiant. They seemed unsure about how they're going to do this one now, and the Shock are going to capitalize. You know they will. You know they had to do it to him. And they get the round done. Again, not looking in stellar position, Matt, but in a position here where they can still hang on. Let's, however, go and hear what was going on the Valiant comms on that defensive side. Do you like that? You like it?
It's like a lot of my competitive games. Yeah, I'm stuck in a Graviton Surge on a wall with nobody saying anything.
You are the first player to mute team chat, Matt. Don't even go there.
Me?
You were the first player.
When?
You are the least talkative player I played Overwatch with. And then every 5 minutes you're like,
that's debatable.
Hey guys, you know, be really awesome. I'm like, oh, what, Matt? Like, tell me, like, impart some knowledge.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a better
super
player.
passive aggressive.
So you're like, hey guys, it'd be great if we did some damage. Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Brilliant!
Not trying to call the person out who's usually playing damage besides me, but he's also the same person who I cast with.
Who's that?
So
like a studly individual.
You have no excuse for your McCree. You're like, oh, I'm not playing on I'm lagging.
I
We're
actually
in the same building. It's like we have the same
no,
internet.
I'm playing
You're
from
not.
Australia, Matt. I VPN
Yeah.
didn't. Look, you gotta understand. I'm lagging. I'm lagging in real life too today, but that's life, ladies and gentlemen.
With the way your tracking is, actually, you may actually hit more shots lagging
I
and just having such a long delay.
I have unleashed the beast.
Anyway, let's get back on track, okay?
Oh, yeah, you bring it back on track. Okay, man.
Italy, the Valiant on defense here.
Thank God for you, man. Thank God you're keeping this one on.
As, they'll go with both teams going to run the same comp set again. So the Valiant, their comp was pretty successful in the defensive end. They just never actually made it back to the point there when Verbo died with the sound barrier. So give it a go again.
The San Francisco Shock really have one good fight. They'll try and maybe get some poke done and build up their ultimates, but the best they can hope for maybe is getting Zen or the Junkrat to an ultimate. Oh, hello there. Baby Bay finds him. Fade is also dispatched pretty quickly, and now here's the opening for the San Francisco Shock. It looks like the Valiant have put the wrong foot forward, and the Shock breathe a sigh of relief as now they get to stand up on the point here, and I think, yes, the Valiant have to disengage and actually try and hold. I don't really know if they can come in here, Matt.
Well, it looks like they may be setting up for something because Envy and Unco have gone around all the way on the flank. So they've gone for the high ground, and now Verbo and the rest of the crew are coming through the choke here. They're going to use Coalescence as well.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The ultimates were there. Oh, the Valiant got to respond here. At least Nomi cut down. Unco found him with a Coalescence. Here it is. Oh, the Valiant come back in. What about patience? Dante, that could be big, but Unco was removed, and Sleepy didn't get to the point in time. Baby Bay opted to step off the point to try and stand in a flanking position, or at least put the Valiant in between him and Sleepy. But again, crucial mistake, and I'd call it done, to be honest. It doesn't happen often, but you saw the Valiant got a good feel for how much time they had to come back in there, opening with the Diva, get some stall, and the rest of the team followed up. Nicely done.
Yeah, I think they just get so split, the Shock, right? Because you have Envy coming from the high ground, and then you have the rest of the members getting speed boosted in by Verbo. You kind of lose track that Unco is up there with Envy as well, and he's able to get Coalescence down and just heal everybody on a diagonal, right? You know, you can heal from that high ground down to the low and get a lot of value out of it.
Huge difference that makes than the Valiant being patient and not just staggering one player at a time to try and stall, but just to go together.
Which is incredibly hard because in their last attempt where they were on defense, they never actually made it back onto the point. They disengaged just like they did this time, but they miscalculated it and never actually made it back. That time, they played it perfectly.
And now, the Valiant on the attacking side with 1 minute and 48 seconds. They need to take the point. That's all. One tick, in fact, as I don't believe... Actually, no, the Shock did get 2 ticks in a bit. It's 81.8%. You can see it up there. So they do pretty much need to capture the entirety of that point, i.e. get to 100%. No mean feat. But again, the Widowmaker's there. The Hanzo's there for the pick potential, Matt. This is a very long-range pokey comp to start.
And it's a lot of damage on the shield of Nomi, so he's going to be put in a very tough position, right? Because Fate's going to just walk him down, push him back, and he has to... Nomi knows he has to keep the shield up to keep everybody behind him alive, right? You know, Baby Bay and Dante need that shield to be able to do their damage as Dante takes out Verbo.
The San Francisco Shock trying to wrap here, sneak Nevix into the backline. Doesn't quite work out, and Dante now gets picked off. Perhaps the shield wasn't there. Somehow Dak finds Soon. It's just Dak things, to be honest with you. Soon must have been grounded at that point. Perhaps he snuck out to a party. Perhaps it was Harsha that told him to stay in, but...
And with the Valiant's comp, too, they just gain a ton of information. This is actually a push that's coming in because Unco hits a sleep dart onto Nomi. So Nomi's down on the ground right now, and the push starts to come through.
Oh, and that sets up Fate's charge as well. Nomi's just getting patted and bruised around, and that's got to be it. The San Francisco Shock just get decimated, and then some, as Envy found Sleepy to finish things off, and Kareem, just for a bit of style points, finishes the map, and the Valiant put themselves now at advantage. And we can say they put the Shock in check. With one map left in the series, they lead 2-1.
As soon as that sleep dart comes out from Unco and they land it on Nomi, they push all the way on through, and the Shock never recover after that. Fantastic play there by the Valiant. Now, Kareem showing up big on the DPS again. 35 limbs, 18 final blows, only 9 deaths.
Well, it's been the San Francisco Shock and a bit of ore on our side. as we see the Valiant bring things back in such a very close time bank to end that third map, there's one more to come. It's going to be that pure escort map just around the corner. Stay tuned. The series may yet have legs.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Good start for LA. And on the other side is going to be their opponents, the San Francisco Shock. Oh, Baby Bay on fire. Zune on the attack already. Oh, taken out by Danta, though. That's what I like to see, man. Oh, Snipe Fever. An incredible run from LA Valiant. What do you say about that?
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Blizzard Esports Arena. It's 2-1 here in favor of the Los Angeles Valley in the battle, of course, of North and Southern California. Potentially one more map to go. Gibraltar being that next map here. We need to see the Shock stop being the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah, they seem to just make these little minor mistakes that end up losing them these maps. I know the Valiant, though, in a good position to close this one out. There's going to be no substitutions from either team. I know the Shock don't really make any substitutions. We were talking, I don't think they've actually had one since the preseason where they had to. Kareev will stay in. I actually think this will probably be one of his better maps. You can run him on Widowmaker here.
That big Widowmaker play is what we're looking forward to seeing. And also Unco, who had an ungodly amount of healing in that previous map.
It just looked so insane. I was like, oh, I don't know if that's accurate. But he puts up 74% of overall team healing, 32,000
opposed to, and all fairness to Verbo, he's obviously using speed boost and the like, but Verbo for comparison had 11,000, so 32,000 to 11,000. That's a huge.
He was playing Moira a lot of the time, and you just know that insane with triple tank, and then Moira, you know how much healing she can put out. So
that's true.
You see the benefits of it there.
Right, so Unco obviously getting to play potentially his Ana, which is, in my opinion, his best hero. Right up there with his Zenyatta, but I think Ana is just suiting him better right now, especially given the map pool, you know, your King's Rosen, your Gibraltars of the world. We'll see what falls out in the mix here. We'll see, we're just about to jump in. On the defensive side to start with, it will be the San Francisco Shock, so we shouldn't see an attacking Ana from Unco. Don't get ahead of ourselves here. Yeah. But on defense, the Genji Widowmaker, so we will see that defensive Widowmaker from San Fran. And it will be Baby Bay hoping to contest, just in case Kareem tried to go for something cheeky.
Yeah, and it also gives you, Dante playing the Genji, who can also go and, at Kareem if he's playing the Widowmaker on the opposing side of Gibraltar. There's a lot of verticality, right? You can see how the map is as you get towards point A. It's really important to have, a Genji to get up towards that high ground.
That's the map for you guys.
That looks like my sign drawing on Watchpoint.
Yeah, I enjoyed those, by the way. Some great signs. Hopefully we can put them up in the office.
Well, I would say this. Doa cheated because he's an art major. Monty printed out stuff, so I think they both broke the rules during that.
I reserve comment about art majors. I was an engineering major, Matt, so that's, let bygones be bygones, let them do their thing. He is a good artist, though, I'll be true about it. But let's see if the San Francisco Shock are good enough to envision a situation where they hold off the Valiant here. How good those brush strokes are, how cleanly they come down. So far, Baby Bay makes me feel positive about it with Kareem falling to him early.
That's a good start there. Maybe Kareem was caught off guard a little bit because a lot of teams on the defensive end have not been playing Widowmaker in the games that we've casted. It's been a lot of 76 on the defensive end, playing up in that back high ground. Yeah. But you have such a great Widowmaker in Baby Bay. You may as well use him here on the defensive end, and maybe that's why you see Kareem get the better of Baby Bay this time. It's going to force Dak into a tough spot, trying to get up top to go for that resurrection.
In the nick of time, Nevix arrives to protect Dak from Envy, take him down with those auto cannons. But this is quite the brawl, Matt. Neither of these two teams are willing to give an inch, but the Valiant seem to just have a little bit more impetus currently. Dante, okay. Dante manages to deal with Unco, but Kareem is waiting for that reflect to end. And amongst the commotion, the Valiant just pushed forward. They got that first checkpoint, and the Shock really didn't seem to be in a position to stop them.
Yeah, Dak goes for the res up top on the Baby Bay, or just tries to go up top to get some kind of safety. And Fate jumps right up onto that high ground, takes him out. It was a very good play by the tanks of the LA Valiant. First, it was Envy getting on a Dak, getting him very low, and then Fate jumps up to the high ground, finishes him off.
Kareem is like, yo, Nomi, you best be bubbling, bro. I'm gonna take damage off you every shot. Sleepy needs to be careful. Kareem's got a very interesting angle here. Tough for the Shock to sort of see him or have a decent sideline on, but it doesn't really matter because Dante now just wants to push ahead. You see what happens to a Genji when he doesn't have a dash, by the way? It's awkward. You sort of sit there, impotently flailing around with your Dragon Blade.
And Kareem is still alive. He's actually all the way in the back by where the Shock spawned. He's actually going to get taken out now. Fate will fall as well. Now, maybe they thought they were going to extend this fight, the LA Valiant, because Fate had used his Primal Rage to stay alive on the cart. Maybe you get back into a spot where Fate's at like half HP. Maybe you would have used the Valkyrie there to give him that healing to stay up and try and extend it.
Both the Shock and Valiant support duos are about in sync on their ultimates accruement. By that I mean they both have two ultimates to use. So we do have the Valks, we do have the Transcendences. Online for both teams, it really comes down to who uses them first. Generally the second trans is the one, obviously, that would last a little bit later.
It's a very hard spot for the Valiant to break on through. You have Kareem play the Widowmaker, connects with two shots.
Is it
well, it usually is. I mean, when you're sitting on top of the ship in the middle of the map, it's very difficult to get players out of that position, especially with a Widowmaker who's always shooting up at the ship, right? The 76 can just see so much more. Well, it doesn't really matter, though, because Kareem takes out Dante, then takes out Dak.
Yeah, so the Shock were in the spaceship, too busy trying to make the Kessel run in less than 10 parsecs, and Kareem was busy just wrecking them from the point. Okay, they'll take the point, too. Wake up, Shock! It's all falling away from them now, as that's the second time the Valiant have maybe gotten the point where perhaps it just wasn't supposed to happen. They weren't able to get there in time, and that's the tough part about the shuttle phase. Getting back in after you get bundled out, Matt. It's hard.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see a team like the Shock, have some kind of, whether it's communication or just timing issues, because, like we said, they don't make substitutions, right? So this team is playing together constantly, all the time.
Oh, do it. Always think about it.
The warning shot. And then the warning shot, he's gonna...
How about that, baby Bay? What now? Tries to step out with a tactical visor. If that's hubris, I'll be surprised if it wasn't. Kareem just smashes him. I got a bit excited about that one, man. I'm not gonna lie. And that really hurts the Valiant. Pride comes before a fall, and now Baby Bay knows it for real. Fate's in the mix. Finds himself too.
And you still have the Valkyrie. You still have the Valkyrie and Transcendence here for the Valiant. They are in a great spot. Kareev can sit all the way in the back here. Just land these shots at will.
Get wrecked. All right, we're back into it. Baby Bay now has decided he wants to stop playing aim-related heroes, perhaps. It's time for the Roadhog here again. Create some space. That's what San Francisco really want to try and do here, but Baby Bay just got chunked down. There's too much presence and pressure from the Valiant over on that final point. And you can see, while Nomi's trying to deal with Kareem, the payload's going to sail home or get close to it at least. They've XDC'd to look at Nomi in the background. He tried. He failed to get rid of Kareem, and now he's being punished. Good hook on the Fate, but no follow-up. Baby Bay, perhaps with Fate dropping down, the barrier actually prevented him from dying to the scrap gun, and now he's got the Primal Rage. Should be enough to get home. 3 minutes and 21 seconds, man. That's not slow at all. That's well quick.
Check this out. Kareev on Widowmaker. It's a 57% scoped accuracy. That's pretty nuts. I mean, you know, it's 15% crit accuracy, right? But he's just landing so many shots consistently, getting these players weak. Just able to finish him off. It's just really sick Widowmaker play there from Kareev.
By the way, like fans, I see some fans as well talking about like Kareev coming now as a DPS. I want to see some other players. I merely offered that as a suggestion. Like in that second map, I said there are other players on the bench that want to step in. People saying it's not necessarily because of MBC. MBC's not even here yet. Moon, the new coach, he's not actually here in Los Angeles. So again, it seems to be working out. So some of the thinking behind Kareev, Bren mentioned on the desk that he played DPS before. It is clearly, I mean, Baby Bay tries to beat him with a tactical visor. Like, tries to go for the cheeky play, is smashed.
We've seen a lot of 76 thus far. If you believe he's your best 76 in Widowmaker, it's a spot that he definitely fills on this team, right?
And it's a meta for that combination of the hero pool.
Because that allows Soon to stay on Tracer. You don't have to have Soon flex over to a Widowmaker, right? And then whether it's Silk Thread or Agilities play Tracer, you can keep Soon on Tracer. You can have Kareev play both of those hit scan heroes.
Get Verbo back in with his communication ability, which we know he's very talkative and very, you know, for a young guy, turning into a very apt leader. Seems to be a good permutation for the Valiant right now with the way the game.
The only thing we haven't seen from them really is can he... We saw it a little bit in that game we casted with them where he played Genji on Volskaya.
Yep.
But like, can he play that Genji at a really high level and then you don't have to make any substitutions, or do you still need to bring somebody like Silk Thread? Then I think that would be the question, right?
We did see Agilities last week,
yes,
right? So they did bring him in for that Genji aspect. It seems like Kareev's not quite where he'd like to be, at least at that role.
Well, Genji is a very difficult hero to just kind of pick up and play at a professional level.
If that was true, then Bren wouldn't be playing, so I don't know what you're talking about, fam. Anyway, San Francisco on the attack, so the pressure forward. And they did see the Valiant just sort of set up on that bridge. And the Valiant will back away as is customary, eventually.
And this is the setup we usually see on defense, right? The last half, you saw them play with a Widowmaker on D, did the shot. Usually it's a 76 like you see Kareev play here. Maybe he can play down by the server room, or you see him set up now, just land some shots as players come through the tunnel. They don't have anything to get to this high ground outside of Fate and Envy to deal with the Widowmaker or Baby Bay, though.
Baby Bay's very cognizant of the fact that the Valiant are sort of holed up in that server room on the right-hand side, and that he is, you know, vulnerable to be flanked from that direction. So he's trying to huddle close to his Winston, which is, again, going to deter any aggression from that direction. And he's waiting for someone just to show their head. Kareev gets lucky. Doesn't get found out by Baby Bay. And the shot, again, it's been stopped up a little bit here. Dante's going in, Kareev, oh, look at him, the scuttle away. That's annoying for the shock.
Well, it's again, he doesn't have that dash, right? He kind of uses the dash to get in, and then they just disengage, and there's nowhere for him to go after that.
And again, maybe it's because Dante is not enjoying being kept at arm's reach by the Valiant, where Kareev and Unco can really punish him. And again, that's not really ideal. You see Envy's going to duck back here and give some more ultimate percentage just to make sure that Unco 100% has his Transcendence. He could have gotten a health pack if he wanted to, but that's definitely the play here.
Well, that could have been a big blade because there was no Transcendence on the opposing side, right? You could have got a ton of value there in the server room with that.
Dante is a very apt Genji, so just a couple. And again, is it mechanical? Does it get booped? You know, I mean, Verbo isn't playing Lucio, so I don't know why it's happening. Perhaps Envy was in his way. Anyway, Baby Bay's getting some good chip damage done here, Matt. Does want to try and find some kills now, especially with the Valkyrie in play for the shot. They need to get aggressive behind this, and they found Unco early.
It'll be Valkyrie for both sides. You probably gonna see Verbo try and get a res off on Unko here in a few seconds. Kareem will use that attack visor. There comes the res on Unko. It's probably not enough though.
All right, the Transcendent's now being committed to the fight, but it's just Soon and Envy that are actually going to benefit from that at this stage. 3 players for the Los Angeles Valiant on the point. Self-destruct being thrown up. Nomi just taking cover here behind the forklift, and Envy will be taken down by Baby Bay eventually, and that will be the shock to get over. So they're on the run. They're on the road. Notice the Valiant now are desperately trying to get in position on the shuttle, and the Shock are trying to deny that. So straight away, they're jumping forward. Straight away, Nomi wants to get control.
The Valiant are backing all the way out because they're going to switch over to the comp we saw a lot during stage 1. They're going to bring in Kareev on Genji. This time, I thought Verbo was going to stay on Mercy. He goes all the way back to the next spawn. We'll go over to Lucio. So they're going to go extremely aggressive with an all-out dive. They're putting a lot of emphasis, switching this comp, getting Baby Bay out of the equation.
It's a good chance to take a second look at Kareev's Genji.
Yes.
I mean, if he's got this one under his belt, then this guy is the perfect pick for the Valiant with the way that the meta is right now, providing that his performances remain as they have been. Baby Bay's forced back, of course. Kareev trying to dive bomb him, but Soon's gone down already to sleep. That first pick from the Zenyatta to open up the fight. It's such a big decider in so many of these engagements. And Verbo won't step down. That's Dante's 3rd Dragon Blade that he's died during, but at least this time he actually gets something for his troubles. He's found enough kills here to set the motion or the ball rolling and force the Valiant now back into a bit of a trickle situation. This is very good for the Shock. They need to keep this momentum going forward.
Yeah, the Valiant are going to try and contest here. You saw Unko Soon jump onto the payload. They eventually fall as Nevix do some work here with his teammates. It'll be point B taken for the Shock. 4 minutes plus to complete the map.
That's a great amount of time here. Again, for them, a sigh of relief as they're managing to stay in step with what the Valiant achieved. Again, anything sub 4 minutes to finish the map on Gibraltar is really, really good. It's a long map. In fact, it's one of the longest maps in terms of in-game meterage for what it's worth. But even more so, it's easy as an attacking team to get snarled up on some parts of this map. The hairpin turn just here, the shuttle phase prior. So this is very good for San Francisco.
And you see Baby Bay come alive on the Widowmaker. 46% scoped accuracy. Mitch, 24% crit accuracy. Landing those headshots, you can hear him dig. That'll force the Transcendence out from Unko.
And the problem is the Valiant don't have much to really use behind this one. You see Kareev still on respawn now, and Unko gets cut down pretty much straight away. However, Sleepy, so both of those Zenyatas are missing with the Pulse Bomb of Soon dropped on the San Francisco Zen. But now back to safety. You see Verbo trying to escape here. Where the Valkyrie available now and is cut down, and it's the Valiant that are in tatters. They're scattered all across the map. See, Envy's way away from the rest of his team. He tried to dive and he was thwarted. He was desuited. He got back in and then he got taken down again. Doesn't do much for the Valiant at all. The San Francisco Shock, one more fight and they should be home.
And both Widowmakers with Infrasight there. It'll be Dante throwing a pulse bomb on the door. Connects with Kareev. Baby Bay takes out Fate.
Should do it.
The Shock close it out. It looks very likely.
That's gonna be it. All right, now we got ourselves a match. At least a map here. It's only about 25 seconds in between these two in terms of how much time they have left, which is actually going to set us up for an exciting replay of Gibraltar. A second run through, obviously with less time in general.
Not much defense played either here.
I think that's a pretty safe assessment to make.
I believe it's the Valiant finish with 3 minutes and 21 seconds in their time bank. And for the Shock, they have 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So both teams with a ton of time here on Gibraltar to make some plays. Already on the defensive end here, for the Valiant, it looks like you'll have Kareev play Widowmaker. So that's a little bit of a change. They had him play 76 the last time. This time you want his Widowmaker to go right at Baby Bay.
They traded shots extensively in the early stages. At the 76 here. So we did make that last minute switch.
They did change, yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think it's more robust. He can also do a lot more to sort of protect his backline. We often see that your Zenyatas and your 76s of the Overwatch League stay fairly close together because there's a lot more healing available. Biotic Field, although being quite small in radius, a Soldier 76's healing ability is still crucial when you're getting hurt.
If you're going to play in the server room, I feel like you set yourself up for Dante to get one of these big Dragon Blades, right? Like Agility's had during contenders where he takes out 6, maybe not in the same fashion, but you could definitely be prone to have your 76 and both your supports go down there.
Yes, statistically speaking though, based on Dante's Dragon Blade performances in this map, he has a 25% chance of having an impactful ultimate activation on Genji. So that's just Yeah, that's what we saw at the very least there. So maybe the Valiant aren't feeling threatened by that Genji pick right now. It's, the psychological factor plays in very heavily. But BabyBay would like to strike fear into the hearts of these men. And it will be at the end of the Widowmaker that he attempts to do so.
Well, Dante just trying to farm this blade off of the tanks here around the corner. Because you know where both supports and you know where Kariv are, right? There's no reason to go hunting for them. Just farm the blade and then turn your attention to those guys.
It's smart. He's wasting Envy's defense matrix. Envy doesn't want to commit that defense matrix just to eating Genji's shurikens, but he also has to stay there. Look who gets desuited first. It's Envy. So the D.Va mech is missing. Dante's now being left upon, but notice that Dak is keeping him pocketed up and healed at all times. He's had to go back to play the Mercy here, especially to assist BabyBay, but in this case it keeps Dante alive despite facing the scrutiny of Fate.
And they did end up dropping Fate there. It'll be Envy who looks like he'll get back in his mech here, as it'll be the Valkyrie popped by the shock. They're trying to win this first fight.
This is going to be the time. It might even need a Dragon Blade right here. Dante would love to hold on to this. Oh, not okay. Perhaps I can't read minds after all. So it goes in. Found Envy after got desuited. Soon, yeah, easy target there. Dragon Blade cleaned him up. In the meantime, BabyBay had found Fate as he tried to come back in. This is very good. The Shock, get that first stretch done with minimal issue.
You did end up having to use your Dragon Blade and your Valkyrie there, as you see Dante just trying to hunt down Kariv. They'll get Kariv, they'll stagger him out. Maybe he can build it towards another Dragon Blade, but now the Valiant will have their Valkyrie and Transcendence. Most likely Kariv, he can build up towards that attack visor very quick as well. Really relying on Sleepy to get good use of this Transcendence and BabyBay to hit some shots.
Look at that headshot. Look at Fate's HP, down to less than half. At least they have a Mercy here on the side of the Valiant, so it's easy to heal him up. But now this is the annoying part, trying to push back in as the Valiant. How to safely get into the shuttle phase without being bottlenecked in the doorway. Well, looks like they managed to get past that first test, that first trial, and now they're ready to fight. There's a primal rage going here for Fate. The self-destruct forces Dante to actually consider a different route of approach. With the Transcendence active, Dante knows he needs to take shade under this healing umbrella, but it's expired. Dak brings Nomi back into the fight. Crucially now, a lot of value on that Winston Resurrect. 500 HP thrown back into the fray, and now it's going to be a tough one, though, for the San Francisco Shock. Dante needs to go be with his Dragon Blade. He needs to find something. And no, he doesn't get it. Burbo going to get the Resurrect as well with Mercy back in the mix. These risky dives sometimes just don't pay off.
And we'll see if the Shock can get back towards that payload. 10 seconds left here. Nomi's alive. You have Dak there as well.
Oh, Kariv.
See if they can make it around the corner. They got to get a touch here.
Turned his back on BabyBay at a crucial moment. BabyBay was hoping to get early damage to set this fight up. Here it goes, though. Nomi down to half HP on the point, despite the fact that it was being pocketed by Dak the entire time. And now Fate wants to go for the Mercy. He's forced the Valkyrie out of Dak, but it's time for the Dragon Blade here. No, Transcendence coming out. Great response and counter from the Valiant, rendering Dante absolutely useless. He should fall in a moment now, as he'd fallen to very low points of HP, and it was Unco to deliver his final blow. Nevix desuited, Nomi back on the payload, and Dak just gets caught up in the mix. Collateral damage, no one was even shooting at the Mercy. A stray micro rocket took down the Mercy and the chances for the Shock to stay in it. That being said, Matt, they get themselves an extra checkpoint.
Yes.
They get themselves halfway through the shuttle phase here on this Gibraltar overtime.
Yeah, it was a very good push there from the Shock. They were able to take point A rather quickly. Now, maybe if you would have had a blade for that first fight when they use it at the end of point A, maybe if you had a blade, it would have been a little bit different. And I was pretty shocked that Kariv, with about 80% attack visor there, went back to the spawn, swapped off the Widowmaker. But at that point, with only about a minute, like a little bit over a minute on the clock, you just want those picks, right? If you're just able to get that one headshot and an early pick onto whether it's Sleepy or Dak, that's pretty much your hold on defense.
Again, when you're a Widowmaker, you often stand on top of a space shuttle in that second stage of the map. Now, an enemy Winston, or a D.Va for that matter, has to cross quite a gap to get to you. So theoretically, you can essentially chunk a Winston down to maybe 30% of their HP if you're a Widow that's hitting heads. And again, the enemy D.Va has to use their entire defense matrix to cover the gap and not get shot, at which point you can just drop down off the shuttle. The enemy D.Va has no matrix anymore.
It was a nice position because he didn't even play on top of the shuttle. He basically sat in the middle, right on that B on the ground, because then if Nomi or Nevix tries to dive him all the way in the back, then he uses his grapple, it goes on top of the shuttle, and then those tanks are just there left for dead.
And that thing's lower cooldown nowadays as well, Matt. It's much easier to get around the map as Widowmaker and also pull yourself out of those compromising situations. So Nevix, much in the same way that the Outlaws like to use Cool Matt, He's the first line of defense, gonna spot the comp out, check to see if there's anything that, you know, is incongruent or requires a response, because you can't tab and see the enemy composition until, what, 15 seconds in.
So let's see how the Valiant play around this, right? Because Baby Bay is inside of that server room with both supports, but Dak is playing Ana. So if they try and dive in there, the Valiant, they're going to get hit with a big biotic grenade, get denied any healing they would get from Verbo or Unko.
Dak's Ana, really good last week. Some huge sleep darts, especially that one on Hanamura on short 4 was great. And that Baby Bay takes down both supports. I mean, what more could you ask for from this man? Perfect response. Kareev's trying to embed himself in the back lines, spraying and praying that he doesn't get shot in the back of the head.
He's going very far out.
What's the play for him? We'll come back to that in a second, but this is Baby Bay shutting things down for the Valiant. Easy life. Oh, he goes Unko first. Great biting grenade, though. That was a great setup for Dak.
As Kareev is still behind enemy lines here, using his infrasight, I guess it puts them in a difficult spot, right? Do you want to go and deal with Kareev all the way in the back? Yeah.
Just needs one kill, and they're not aware of exactly where Kareev is right now. So if he peeked with infrasight, got that easy kill, just lined up ahead through a wall, that could have opened things up. I get the idea, but again, you put yourself at great risk and you put yourself deep in enemy territory, but Fate comes to the rescue there. Nicely done. Soon was in trouble and Dunta did find it, but Sleepy and Dak have both fallen to the one very angry Winston, and Fate doesn't seem to be done yet. He wants to take this into his own hands. Baby Bay trying to run for the hills, but he won't get away from this man. Soon resurrected back in the fight. The Tracer returns to the fray for the Valiant and Kareev. A bit of SMG action to get it done, and the Valiant now breathe a sigh of relief. The first hurdle is jumped.
It just, Kareev's positioning there is so odd, but it puts San Francisco in a weird spot because you can't really send Baby Bay back there to go deal with him because he's up on the high ground and he's getting that mega health pack. And then you have players coming out of the respawn just getting peppered with shots from Kareev. A lot of the players for the Shock don't have abilities to get over to that high ground.
So they're calling back the tanks with mobility, going, guys, you can't contest, you've got to keep us.
But they have the rest of the Valiant coming at them, so they can't do anything.
So it's kind of like the strat we saw on Temple of Anubis with Tracers and Genjis trying to go deep behind defenders, except it actually worked. So that's always nice to see. Nevic's looking for Kareev, but gets very few of the micro rockets on target, so Kareev's hardly threatened out of position. Nevic's just kind of giving him a bit more of a light show than anything. Double Transcendence, interesting to see that one drawn out of Unko at this stage, given the Valiant didn't seem to really want to fight or commit ultimates, but they'll go for it anyway. Pulse Bomb for Soon, this could be big. It needs to be, in fact. A bit of damage done. Nomi's very low at this stage, and Soon is still looking to get a finish off, and Dante exposes his flank, gets out in front. That self-destruct could be critical, but Soon's able to get away from it. Unko is not so lucky.
Doesn't look like you're going to see Verbo go for a res here on the Unko. They're going to actually go
Stay safe, get the valve.
Now they're going to get the res here, so they're going to go all the way back. They're going to get the res on the Unko.
Oh, here we go.
You're going to have your Valkyrie here very shortly.
It's inexorable. The Los Angeles Valiant are pushing forward. Nevix is just trying to stay alive right now, but he's so low. It was a great pulse bomb from Dunta to get rid of the mech and the tank. There's no tanks for the Valiant, but they've got damage, raw damage, and they've got it in spades. You know that Unko's going to be dishing those orbs of destruction now as he's trying to dismantle this defense for the Shock. Knocked back, Fate drops on now, and look at this. The Primal Rage, very, very helpful, but he put to sleep from up above. It's Sleepy to make Fate sleep on the job, but now Nomi's going to be there. Give him a tinkle to wake him back up, and where are the Shock? They got to get there! Nomi playing back around the corner. He couldn't make it to the payload, and Fate's timing was impeccable to return with the Primal Rage. And once again, the North versus Southern California crown goes back to the Valiants.
The Valiant tanks, man, they just continue to impress. Fate goes 35 with 35 limbs, 13 final blows, only 8 deaths. Envy 34 limbs, 13 final blows, only 6 deaths. A tremendous performance from both of those players.
Over the board as well, there we saw some fantastic moments from the support on both of these rosters. You know, the Ana play was exquisite. Very, very fun to see the Baby Bay Kareev story unfold, Matt.
Kareev has an insane game. 39 limbs, 22 final blows on the Widowmaker, 55% scoped accuracy. The guy hitting lots of shots.
And the Valiant continue to march on here. A heartbreaking end to stage 1, but now they come into stage 2 bolstered with a bit of a new look roster, and Kareev in the mix now is definitely starting to silence some of the doubters, Matt. Some question marks hang over that Genji still, perhaps, but his hit scan play has been absolutely impeccable. The Widowmaker to 76, we love it, love to see it, and then the Shock have to recover. We're gonna head to the desk. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back after a short break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, Zoe here, and I'm joined by Verbo from the Los Angeles Valiant. Once more, of course, congratulations to your win just now, and let's talk a little bit about you and your team. We've seen you in last week as well as this week on different compositions, trying out new things, different things. Do you feel like your team has found its pace and style in the current meta yet?
I mean, I've been recently brought on to the main roster, and then we see Kriv on DPS. So we are trying out some new things, especially because we got a new coach, Moon. So he's trying to like theory craft and see what we can do best and find our real strengths. So that's what we're trying to do right now in this game.
All right, so as you just mentioned him, Moon, he is your new head coach. What kind of changes did he implement coming into your team?
I mean, right now he's coaching us remotely because he's still in Korea. We're working on getting him over here into, live and coaching us in real life, obviously. But, like you said, or like you saw, Kriv on DPS, those are some things that he's doing. So we're really excited, and we'll see what happens.
So what are your personal thoughts on Karif on DPS? Is he doing a good job?
I mean, he played phenomenal tonight, so he's definitely doing well.
He absolutely is. I would agree, and I'm pretty sure everyone in here would so too. Thank you so much for your quick chat with me, and we're now heading over to the desk to break down the action of the last game.
Big win for Verbo and the Valiant tonight. They take this one 3-1, but it was a pretty close series. Big shout out to all the Shock fans and, of course, the Shock themselves for putting on the show today. We had a lot of Shock fans in the venue today. Their record overall, not so great, but this is definitely a team with some potential. Let's talk a little bit about the action as we look back. Kings Row was game number 3. We knew this was tied up. Valiant probably the favorites coming in, but the Shock caught me off guard, and they did it with a lot of their teamwork. Kings Row, it just seems it's all about those alt combos, boys.
Yeah, that's generally the theme, isn't it, across the entirety of Kings Row? Is you see a lot of Reinhardt, you see a lot of Zarya. Big ultimates, just fire, fury, and brimstone being chucked around.
I'm disagreeing here. I know the big ultimates get all the spotlight, but to me what stood out was the Los Angeles Valiant running Widowmaker and Hanzo in the same composition to crack the first point. This
The
is
old double
obviously
sniper
your
strike.
4K from Kareem. Watch this 180. Not really, but you tried.
Kept it at the 0. I like that.
It's kind of a 180. I mean, I was about to give it to you, but no, like, this is a map that was very, very close between these two teams. And I mean, coming into this, I think a lot of us expected Valiant to really be sort of taking this in an overwhelming fashion. But I'm pleasantly surprised that San Francisco Shock have really started to show a new different side to this team now. They are performing at a much higher level than they did in stage 1.
I didn't expect this one to be Valiant coming in overwhelming fashion. I'm glad we got to hear from Verbo himself to tell us exactly what was going on, because now it's very obvious the new coach is really just trying to experiment with the team to figure out where their strengths are lying. So I think that really gives us a lot of explanation for what's happening in the first 3 matches from the Valiant so far.
Did you miss Agilities or Silk Thread when watching Kings Row? I was very entertained watching Kareev.
I was entertained watching Kareev. I just find it very funny to be in the position of a DPS that you're thinking you're going to get the time to play, and all of a sudden the guy that was playing Mercy that just like doesn't want to play anymore is now taking your spot as a starting DPS and killing it too.
He's like, I'm tired of damage boosting your Pharah. I'm going to go ahead and play her myself today. All right, well, Kareev and the squad get the win on map number 3, and that sets up game point. You're going into Gibraltar. Let's see if the Shock can hold. As we take a look back at some of the moments in Gibraltar, it was really all about the Widowmakers for these opening picks.
And that's the case with Gibraltar in general, isn't it? Like, across the board, whenever you watch Gibraltar, it's always going to be the spotlight on these Widowmaker players. And boy, they did not disappoint at all throughout this entire match. Just really just high momentum plays kicking off. Kareev and Baby Bay having this little rivalry kicking off. And Kareev really, honestly, had the better of him. And it's crazy to say as well, because the guy might not be as accustomed to playing on the DPS role, but here he is popping off all day long. Now, that's not to say Baby Bay didn't give him a run for the money, because it was a very close game in the end.
I love these slow modes where you can actually see the player think about where they're moving the cursor specifically for the aim. You kind of get to see the individual approach to hitting those snipes. But I think on the screen there, Dante busting out the Genji, he was, to me, stood out from the San Francisco Shock far on the but we're always talking about Dante, but he was just trying so hard to carry this team.
He definitely had a rough game number 2. I felt like the control wasn't his best, but he was on point for game 1, game 3, some big moments in that game 4, and you have to wonder, if he doesn't get shut down with some of those Dragon Blades, how much further would the Shock have gone? Before we leave this match, guys, I want to talk about the final hold. Why did the Valiant walk away with the victory? Because it looked like the Shock were so close to forcing a game 5.
A lot of it comes down to the early picks that Kareev was getting on the Widowmaker. I feel like it's always really the deciding factor in Gibraltar, I think, is whoever gets those picks first is going to be deciding the outcome of a lot of these fights. But in general as well, I think it's the better tank play from Valiant. Fate was one of the players we pointed out early on that you need to keep an eye on, right? Because his Winston play is at the really sort of the tippity top of the league right now, is the way he's playing. He's constantly putting out high numbers in almost every single category on Winston. And not to mention his Reinhardt as well. He showed us in Kings Row he can turn up on the other main tank roles. So he was a real big reason why they managed to take the win away from San Francisco Shock today.
We have to crown our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Is it a tank? Not today. The former support back to his DPS role. Kareev steals our honor today, and he does it not just on the Widowmaker. The 76 was shown. Pharah was shown throughout this game. He was showing us 8 different heroes, 7 with significant playtime.
8 different heroes is ridiculous numbers, and to be having the performance that he did on McCree, on Soldier 76, on Widowmaker, I mean, it's something that you don't really expect players to be coming out with, because it's a skill in itself. I mean, sure, you can find a DPS player that might be able to play every single role, but as the saying goes, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. Kareev showed none of that today. He was pretty much a master on almost every role he picked up.
Yeah, I think that's really what we're seeing to be the evolution of the best DPS players. Not saying that Kareev is one of the best DPS DPS player, so he still has yet to prove himself to be that, but having the ability to flex through a wide variety of heroes such as he did, I mean, you got 15% crit hit accuracy is already very impressive on your Widowmaker. If you can pull that off, you're not like the players that you can expect and really prepare for because they are busting out 2 heroes. This guy can bust out 8. You always have to be ready with everything you've got.
Gotta love the Valiant. It's stage 2, new coach, new roster. Kareev shining as DPS today earns our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. A big win for the Valiant today, and with this victory, they are now officially moving in front of London once again. As we look at the overall standings, look at this, the Valiant back in the running right behind the Houston Outlaws. And what are those games coming up? Well, they still have to play Dallas, they have to play the Gladiators, they have to play Houston. So the question for me, guys, is how much higher can they climb?
I think they got really lucky with having a new coach right now, that they're trying all these things when their schedule is not that tough. You can get by trying these things and still creep away with some wins. So they can go way higher. We don't even know what they're, if they don't know what they're best at, we can't really even speculate at that point.
Good news for us is we get plenty of chances to see the Valiant as the regular season plays on. That is just their 3rd match now in stage 2. That does it for our first 2 matches of the day, but there's still one more to go. When we come back, this LA crowd is going to be very happy to see their own Gladiators take on the Shanghai Dragons.